The following is a presentation of WGN.
Well, it's great to be back home, if even for a short 4-day homestand. National League West leading Dodgers Cubs baseball. WGN Sports on a hot, muggy night from beautiful Wrigley Field. With us, Jim Deshaies and Len Casper, couple of playoff contenders and some great storylines. Let's start with the first base. Anthony Rizzo, Adrian Gonzalez, both should be on the All-Star.
A lot of, and it starts at first base. Paul is the best player.
The National Weather Service in the Quad Cities has issued a tornado warning for northeastern Side County and northwestern until 7:30 p.m. At 6:56 p.m., a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Morrison, moving southeast 30 miles an hour. Expected hazards include tornado and ping-pong-size hail. Spotters have reported a funnel cloud. Following impacts are expected. Flying debris without shelter. Most homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Emerson around 7:05 p.m. Rock Falls around 7:10 p.m. Other locations impacted by this tornadic thunderstorm include Agnew, Unionville, Douglas Park, White Pigeon, Galt, Round Grove, Grimes Addition, Malvern, Como, and Morrison/Rockwood Park. This includes Interstate 88, markers 30 and 40. Take cover now. Move to a basement interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If you are outdoors, in a mobile home, or in a vehicle, move to substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris. Heavy rainfall may hide this tornado. Do not wait to see or hear the tornado. Take cover now. To report severe weather, contact enforcement agents. They will send you to the National Weather Service office in the Quad Cities. Repeating, a tornado warning has been issued until 7:30 p.m. for the following county: Whiteside, Illinois.
Whatever is next in your life, Mel Foster can help you find your home.
When your car gets wrecked, call Auto Body Direct.
I recommend Hanford & Seal, selling nationwide. I see firsthand the inferior parts some insurance companies want to put on your car when it gets wrecked. Make sure you get all new factory parts on your car with the OEM endorsement. If you want your car fixed with the parts that were made for it, call Hanford Insurance. And
your car gets wrecked, call Direct.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast, a Taco Bell original, is back in bottles and cans.
What?
Get some while you still can. Now with new Sangria Blast.
Chicago Cubs baseball is brought by Budweiser. Still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Honda Dream Garage Sales Event. Now at your Honda dealer. Napa. Home Napa know-how. Ford, America's best-selling brand, inviting you to go further in our fuel-efficient vehicles. Entire lineup at your Ford store or at localfordstores.com. Subway, make a play for savory subs this season. Score more flavor at Subway. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Chicago Cubs baseball in high definition on WGN TV is brought to you by your home for most live sports. We are just about set for action here. We'll get the Dodger lineup in a moment. Tuesday night on the mound. Facing the Dodgers for the third time. In his young career, even though he's 34 years old, just his second season in the big leagues, Clayton Kershaw pitching for the Dodgers.
Just Shiwada, you take the mound tonight knowing you're up against it a little bit with this lineup out, and Clayton Kershaw pitching for Los Angeles, so you're aware of it, and then you just think it all out and say, okay, just go do your thing. And last time out, he did. I was in Cleveland, the 17-0 beatdown that the Cubs put on the Indians. He went 7 shutout innings in that ball game.
Wada was actually ready to start the game about a minute before the scheduled game time, so they held him up briefly. His first pitch to Yasiel Puig is a fastball, swung on and missed. And tonight's weather, and a chance of rain, but hopefully not. It's humid for sure, and the southwest wind means it's blowing straight out to center field.
What's Tom doing out there on the field? Off the field, Tom.
Puig, an all-star last year, recently moved up to the leadoff spot. Just his 26th game this season. Had some DL time with a hamstring strain, missed 39 games. JD, he is 47. Is like he tweaked his left hand. 24 out of 47 against Cubs pitching in his career. That's a .511 batting average. Yikes.
Yeah, so he's feeling pretty good about things. Multi-hit games and every time he has played here at Wrigley Field, and that left hand is bothering him. Not sure what's going on there, but
seems to have gotten stung by something on one of those first swings. And a high fly ball out into center. It's Dexter Fowler. So we'll keep an eye on Puig the rest of the night.
Bleeding through his glove.
Huh.
Ripped a callus open or something.
Good times. Jock Peterson.
That glove will be available at Dodgers.com. You can get it for $250.
It's like the Kurt Schilling bloody sock. Strike called. Peterson very much in the mix for the National League Rookie of the Year. Among all players, 5th in the National League in homers, 3rd in walks, 6th in on-base percentage, 7th in slugging. And that's just the offensive stuff. He has made a lot of headlines with his defense out in center field as well. 1 ball, 1 strike on him. Didn't mean to. Checked his swing and fouled it off. 1-2.
I heard Vin Scully the other day say that Dodger uniform. Look out for the wall, young man.
That was a game saver in San Diego recently. And he had some very long home runs as well. Had a 5-game home run streak earlier this season, but it won't happen this time as he takes a called 3rd strike. And let's get the rest of the Dodger lineup written out by Don Mattingly. They got in late or early this morning, however you'd like to put it, after a night game against the Giants in which they won last night. Justin Turner coming up next, then Gonzalez. Howie Kendrick, the former Angel. Scott Van Slyke gets the start in left. Kike Hernandez at short for Jimmy Rollins. A.J. Ellis normally catches Clayton Kershaw, and that is the case this evening. So here is Turner. He the first pitch on the ground right to Starlin Castro, and Wada works a 1-2-3 opening inning. Clayton Kershaw against the Cubs bats next.
Every diamond is unique. Like a new relationship, it starts out raw, but after time, hard work and polishing, it becomes something to be treasured. Every diamond has a story. Let the diamond experts at Necker's Jewelers help make this one yours.
When it comes to orthopedic care, the choice is yours. Just look at what our patients are saying. Orthopedic specialists. With offices in Davenport, Bettendorf, and Clinton, we are the Quad City area's only group of all board certified and fellowship trained orthopedic surgeons. The next time you need care, choose orthopedic specialists. Better experience, better results.
Come home to Candlelight Inn, located in Sterling, Rock Falls, and Clinton. Do you delight in our mouth-watering starters, delicious dinners, or our home-style meals? Candlelight Inn serves it up fresh every day. Try delicious original or buffalo-style chicken George, the hand-dipped delicacy that everyone is talking about. The secret's out. Fresh, quality, comfort food from Candlelight Inn, with 3 locations to serve your appetite: Sterling, Rock Falls, and Clinton.
Like a diamond, the story of your love is timeless. This isn't just a diamond for her. This diamond is for generations to come. When they look down, they're reminded of the love story that started it all. Let us help you tell your story. Necker's Jewelers. Give to the one you love.
Now the Cubs back order. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at south.com. Dexter Fowler, great numbers against Clayton Kershaw. Hit a grand slam yesterday in Minnesota. Anthony Rizzo had a very good trip. Kris Bryant looking for his first hit in 4 games. Starlin Castro in the cleanup spot. Chris DeNorfia will play right. Matt Caesar back once again from AAA Iowa to replace Kyle Schwarber. David Ross will catch for Wada batting 8. The second baseman hitting.
Set the Dodgers offensively for you. Second lowest in the National League. We showed you Peterson out there, and he's got Van Slyke and Puig alongside. Turner, Hernandez, Kendrick, and Gonzalez on the infield. Adrian Gonzalez has won 4 Gold Gloves. A.J. Ellis does the catching, and Clayton Kershaw, still just 27 years of age. MVP last year, 4-time All-Star, 3 Cy Young. And you saw the numbers on Kershaw, rather pedestrian by his standards. Most other guys would be thrilled to have those numbers. But over his last 5 starts, he's been Clayton Kershaw, 3-1 with a 1.56 ERA in those 5 ball games.
He's from Dallas, Texas, 6'4", 225, and the curveball is over on Fowler for a strike.
Fowler's less impressed than most against Kershaw. He's got very good numbers against the lefty.
Fowler has been a better right-handed hitter than from the left side in his career. So all the damage done against Kershaw batting right-handed for Dexter. And here comes the 1-2 ring. And this time Kershaw wins the battle. Keeping an eye on Yasiel Puig. And he needs some help with that hand. Needs a wrap or something. New glove?
Glove, because he really likes that one. He doesn't want to get blood on it.
Now Anthony Rizzo. So we did the Rizzo-Gonzalez comparison in the open. Interestingly enough, they were once traded for one another. Rizzo from Boston to San Diego, where he briefly took over for Gonzalez as the Padres baseman. Was dealt to the Cubs. Gonzalez went to Boston and eventually moved to the Dodgers. And there had been comparisons made between the two. To some people about Rizzo, and they kind of remind me of Joey Votto comp maybe works a little better, but I'm in. There's a little Adrian Ellis, the opposite field power. Work at first.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell just with his body language in this confrontation with Kershaw, jacked up this one here tonight. It's an extreme challenge. Kershaw with a plus fastball. Very good breaking stuff. Slider and a curveball. He has a changeup, but he rarely uses it. And because of that unorthodox delivery, there's a fair bit of deception there, too.
If he gets to double digits in strikeouts tonight, he would join Sandy Koufax. Hideo Nomo, there's a base hit out into right. Puig's going to have to charge after it as Rizzo will settle for a single. If Kershaw strikes out 10 tonight, he'll join Koufax and Nomo as the only LA Dodger pitchers with 4 straight starts, at least 10 punch-outs. And the Cubs, as we know, strike out a fair amount on the curve.
Great at-bat by Rizzo early there against Kershaw. He stayed back on the 2-strike curveball. Continuing the good work after an outstanding road trip.
Here's Kris Bryant. He's 0 for his last 14 after 0 for 13.
0 for Minnesota. He will not be in a hurry to go back to Minnesota. Far better here at home than he's been on the road this year. His OPS at home is up over 1,000.
Kershaw almost appears to just kind of fall toward home plate from the stretch.
There's the breakdown home and road for Kris. A 326 batter here with 5 long ones. Cubs have played more games on the road than they have at home. 18 and 13 here at Wrigley this year.
Short by Rizzo. It doesn't mean he won't at some point. Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. Probably would need more than 9 innings to go through accolades and achievements like Clayton Kershaw, but the number one thing to mention, he has led the major each of the last time a pitcher has ever done that. And you go back to 1920. Pitchers with at least 100 starts and 1,000 innings. He has the ERA ever. Better than Whitey Ford and Sandy Koufax. 2 and 2.
Better even than Pud Galvin. 2 years ago, he finished 16 and 9 with a 183 ERA. And he said, well, you could probably win more than that, but boy, to do better than 183, not likely. Followed it up with a 177 last year.
The pitch, good take. It's full, 3 and 2 on Bryant.
Cubs got to him in his start here. He only lasted 5 innings. That made him throw a lot of pitches. Gave up 3 runs. He got a ton of run support though, and was a winner, 14-5, I believe. The Dodgers.
You know what I remember about that start?
We were out there in right field.
We were, yeah. Rizzo not running, and that one is bounced foul to third.
He ended up punching out 9, but the Cubs saw a lot of pitches. Got him out after 5.
You can see already working up a good sweat.
Oh, it's at least a 3 t-shirt night here.
National Weather Service in the Quad Cities has issued a flash flood warning for White County in northwestern Illinois until 11:15 p.m. At 7:12 p.m., Doppler radar indicated thunderstorms producing heavy rain across the warned area. Up to 2 inches of rain have already fallen across the northern part of the county. Up to another inch may fall in the warning area through 8:30 p.m. Flash flooding is expected to begin shortly. Some locations that will experience flooding include Clinton, Sterling, Rock Falls, Morrison, Fulton, Prophetstown, Garden Plain, Albany, Linton, Kalita, East Clinton, Emerson, Union Grove, Ustic, Fenton, Grove, Agnew, Douglas Park, Penrith and Yeo. In addition, move to higher ground now. Act quickly to protect your life. Turn around, don't drown when encountering flooded roads. Most flood deaths occur in vehicles. Repeating, a flash flood warning has been issued until 11:15 p.m. for the following county: Whiteside, Illinois,
Marlin has his average over 270 for the first time since May 24th. Game-winning RBI each of the last 2 nights, and he lines this one to Peterson in center. Well, very tragic, sad news in the world of baseball today. According to police in Pearland, Texas, Darrell Hamilton killed in a murder-suicide. Great guy, had a great career, and he will be missed.
Thunder Hobbies, the Quad Cities hobby train experts. If your passion is trains, then Thunder Road is the place for you. With the area's best selection, a complete parts inventory, and service, we have it all for everything model railroad. Come check us out. Thunder Road Hobbies on Airport Road, Moline.
Goods Furniture, 3 blocks, 12 level buildings, full furniture, prices to fit every budget. Handcrafted quality furniture at every low prices. Take some time to visit the shops at Market Square, where you'll find unique gifts, clothing, wine, and so much more. Relax over a glass of wine and enjoy lunch or a snack at the Wine Cellar restaurant. You can even spend the night at our bed and breakfast. Experience the good life for yourself at Goods Furniture in Kewanee, Illinois.
The grass just got greener. Only $25 gets you a cart and 18 holes of golf anytime after 10 a.m. any day at Sauckie. A great deal on a course that's in great shape. Told ya the grass just got greener. Call for a tee time at Sauckie today.
Chicago Baseball is sponsored in part by Estradal Mortuary.
The Riverwood Rehab team of doctors, nurses, and therapists are here to help you move smoothly from the hospital through your rehabilitation and back home. Learn why Riverwood Rehab is the area's premier destination for post-hospital short-term rehabilitation.
Thunder Road Hobbies, the Quad Cities RC off-road experts. With the area's best selection, a complete parts inventory, and full service, we are for everything RC. Come check us out. Thunder Road Hobbies, Airport Road, Moline.
Cub fans, if you want to manage the game along with Joe Madden, log on to WGNTV.com right now. Click on the WGN Sports Game Zone banner. Connect to all the up-to-the-minute stats and information while you watch from home. Game Zone is sponsored by The Great Escape, pools, patio furniture, hot tubs, strike one, and more. Everything you need to have more fun at home this summer.
Adrian Gonzalez, 0-1. And the veteran first baseman. You mentioned in the open.
Is saying that about 6 minutes ago there was the funnel cloud that was spotted over Rock Falls. We do have some pictures from the area of some of the clouds that we were seeing. Once again, the National Weather Service saying anybody in this area should be taking cover now. Move to a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of the sturdiest part of the building. Avoid windows. If you're outdoors or in a mobile home or in a vehicle, move to the closest substantial shelter. This is what we're seeing.
To chase Tim Lincecum in the second inning, shortest outing of his career.
Juana's 1-2. Hit on a bounce right to Addison Russell. Got a shot of Joe Madden earlier. Yeah, he's letting the beard grow a little bit. Going to let the hair grow. He said it doing the Albert Einstein bit. And he doesn't want his players to worry about the superficial stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of that's the inspiration behind it. He's just going to go all scruffy and tell them it's not important. Just come to the ballpark every day and play hard. Whatever happens, happens. Turn the page, come back the next day. Like a man with a scruffy beard.
Hey, Cub fans, let's go. Come out and enjoy baseball inside beautiful Wrigley Field. The Dodgers are back tomorrow night and Wednesday night. And the series finale will be Thursday afternoon, and tickets are still available for all 3 matchups. Visit Cubs.com to secure your seats today. And it's right back to the road. The Cubs will head to St. Louis for the weekend. And then 3 with the Mets after an off day Monday. So that's 10 in a row starting tonight against National League playoff contenders. Scott Van Slyke.
It's like recently activated off the disabled list. He had some inflammation in his back.
And he pops it up. Got to stick with it on a night like this, and Ross does, and he makes the catch. Normally the wind's going to blow that ball out of play, but they get the out.
When the storm arrives and the lights go out, a small generator comes in handy. But how about a generator that lights your entire house?
Storm Track 8 is putting the power back in your hands. Register to win a Generac generator, fully installed by the Electric Doctor. Log on to WQAD.com's contest page to learn how to enter for your chance to win. Weather the storm with WQAD News 8 and the Electric Doctor.
Hi, I'm Lily Weber. My dad sells cars at Weber Auto Group. He has lots of great cars and trucks and
going out for another 5 more minutes around the Sterling Rock Falls area, but this warning going out until 8:15. 8:15 for the towns that I just mentioned. I will go ahead and do some more. I'll do a little close-up here. And this is what we're dealing with here, folks. This is a couplet that we're noticing right there. Okay? Fortunately, as you can see, it's in open areas. That's some good news. Right around the farm fields that we see here, just north of Reynolds. And if I had to show kind of a step-by-step of this storm, it will kind of look something like this. Storm came out, the warning came out about, I would say, 5 minutes ago or so, putting it in motion. Once again, this is what we're watching right here. Okay? Once again, all open area that we're noticing right here, kind of on the northern fringe of the tornado warning that's going on. I understand Eric's going to be here in just a little bit. I'm going to be making my way to the green screen. Eric's going to be coming here in just a little bit. Probably noticed that, and fortunately with Eric, it's great with Eric because he only lives just a block or two away from here, which is always good. So anytime we have any type of sudden warnings that do pop up, he can always jump in and kind of help us out here and giving us the indications of what the storm is doing. So this is the storm that we're watching. Here's a wider view showing the tornado warning that is out until 8:15. The GR Level X is showing a nice little icon indicating that a spotter did report a tornado that is on the ground moving east, and there is some debris. There is some debris with this tornado. Don't try and go out there, folks, and try and chase for this storm. We have spotters out there. We will likely be getting some pictures regarding this particular tornado that's located in southern Rock Island County. So let the experts take care of that, and we'll eventually show those pictures coming up in just a little bit. Jim?
Yeah, as you were saying, James, I mean, the problem with this tornado, as in so many different tornadoes, is we've got such heavy rains right now. So this is a tornado, at least the one in Rock Island County, that is kind of wrapped in the rain, making it much more difficult for you to see. So that's why we're asking people not to even attempt it, because the storm can come upon you very quickly. National Weather Service saying, as James was saying, that there is a debris involved in this particular tornadic activity that is in the area of Andalusia, Edgington. I think I saw near Coyne Center, so it's kind of south of the Milan area, and that's what we're looking at right now.
And of course, this has been part of a series of some very dangerous storms. I'm looking at some images on Twitter right now from the town of Albia. Albia is out to our west near Ottumwa and Washington in that area. And actually a Hy-Vee store out there was, it appears to have taken a direct hit from the tornado. And again, that's not the storm that we're talking about right here, but this just gives you an example of how serious these sorts of situations are, how quickly it can happen. And again, if the storm is wrapped by rain like that, it's not something you would necessarily see coming.
And as James said, you can see 3 different cells of thunderstorms hitting at this time. One up in the Rock Falls, Sterling area that is passing through that area right now. A second cell to the south of the Quad Cities, the immediate Quad Cities, but still parts of Andalusia, south of Milan also being impacted. And another cell that is out near to Mount Pleasant in the area near Burlington. So those are the 3 major storms that are threatening the area right now.
And I know a a lot of you are concerned. I get it. I'm a Bachelorette fan also. I want to be watching that show too, but we assure you that we're bringing you this information because this is a dangerous situation. And there will be time for you to catch up on the show, but this is really important for you to hear about right now. Even if it's not in your immediate area, perhaps you have a friend or a family member who is in the impacted area. So it's so important for people to be taking those tornado precautions right now, whether that's in a basement or in a windowless room. Make sure that you are protected from any glass, windows, any flying debris that can injure you in a storm like this.
And as James pointed out, this storm has a number of different elements to it. One is a lot of lightning, and we know of a person who has died from a lightning strike over the weekend in Iowa, one of the biggest killers. And there's your illustration. It lights up, sadly, like a Christmas tree with a lot of lightning strikes. That's the Sterling Rock Falls area, but we're seeing it in our area as well. And then you add to that all of the rain that's falling just as the Rock River got back into its banks. We're seeing a lot of rain to the north of us, and that is that entire area that you see right now, the Sterling and Dixon, Amboy, that whole region. That is the area that feeds directly into the Rock River.
And we've been following this for since about 6:45 this evening, so this storm has had a little bit of staying power. It hasn't just kind of fallen apart on us right away.
But once again, we want to urge everyone to take shelter. As you can see, James is showing out the area of Reynolds and the area of Sherrard. Please try to be as careful as possible. Get inside, as well as the people who are now to the south and east of the Sterling Rock Falls area where that storm is centered. James?
I appreciate you guys, and the more information we're able to get with these storms as they continue to make their way across some of our hometowns, the better. The more information we're able to get to you, the clearer the picture actually is. It's like pieces to a puzzle. I always like to say when I talk to kids, young and old, the more pieces that we have, the clearer the picture it is, and that's kind of what we're dealing with the number of sources that we have, not only coming from Denise and Jim, but also from the spotters out there, from the radars that we have here, not just one, but two that we have going on. Once again, we have that tornado warning that could very likely, I'm going to make my way real quick, the tornado warning for Sterling Rock Falls, that is probably coming to an end, which will be some good news there as it makes its way just south of of Nelson. But the big concern is taking place in southern Rock Island County. Once again, let's go with that GR level X radar if we can. And let's go and pop that up. Okay, this is what we're watching really carefully, folks. This is pretty impressive. You can see the couplet right here. Now, it may not be just this well-defined area right here, but it could be this whole rotation that's maybe taking place just south of Andalusia. Now, this storm, indicated by the spotters, is on the ground. There is debris on the ground with this storm, with this tornado, as it continues to make its way off to the east-southeast. Good news here is it is in some open areas, maybe some farm fields out here, but we're going to have to monitor how this is going to be rotating or how it's going to be moving as we make our way into the next half hour to 45 minutes. Normally we don't do this, but we can always put both of us on here on this on the news desk. Now this gentleman should be in. Thank you very much. This gentleman should be in bed right now, but that is our mission here. That is our motivation here, as far as getting the information out to as many of you as possible. You're the one that kind of told us about that rotation that was taking place in Rock Island County. You can kind of playing with the phone and finding all that out.
Well, I've been using my professional radar app and also the Storm Track 8 weather app too, to look at that rotation. And there were those three distinct areas, James, and you were talking about that at 5 and at 6 o'clock. That one thunderstorm near Clinton that moved to the east and started to produce a little bit more in the way of rotation. And now we're seeing this storm just to the south of the Quad Cities, right around the Andalusia area, where there was a report there of a tornado on the ground briefly. And you could see this thing really ramping up. It's one of those classic supercells where you can even see the rotation around like this. So, I mean, you could tell that this has got rotation in a lot of the different levels. And then you can see that easily right in here, that green and red couplet as it's coming together just to the south and west of Oak Grove, seeing that here just within the past few minutes. So look out, Reynolds, Sherrard, you're in the path of this very dangerous storm. So tornado precautions definitely need to keep going.
Real quick, I want to go to the GR level X if we can. I'm going to give, Eric's going to get a little bit more information here, and I'm going to wind the picture out. Something that Eric and I were going back and forth on as we were chatting on text, is that you can see with these storms, and not just the one right around just east of the Sterling Rock Falls area, not just the one around the Quad Cities, not just the one around Temple. There's no blocking of these storms, so we're getting a nice flow of air, a warm and stable air running into the storm itself. So likely we're getting some real nice growth with these storms, getting some good shear too, because we're noticing at the now the mid levels we're getting more of that southwest flow. As we go a little bit higher up, more of a westerly flow. So some decent shear going on, which makes these storms long lasting. So that is why this is not going to be an event that's going to be ending in the next half hour or so, or even an hour. It may be going on for just a little bit longer. Jim, you have some information for us.
Yeah, if you can show us a close-up of the Andalusia area. I know we do have a picture there. We've also gotten some Facebook comments from some friends of ours. There's about 400 people at a Boy Scout camp in Andalusia. No reports of anyone injured, but this further illustrates how serious this storm can be for so many people, that a Boy Scout camp near Andalusia is weathering this storm. A lot of us are safe in our houses, and as Denise said, I mean, there's people who want to see their regular programming. We understand that, but there are people that really desperately need this information right now.
And this is the picture that was emailed to us from Andalusia, and we apologize for the quality on that, but I think the person was trying to demonstrate there's kind of a darkness there in the middle. There's just not enough information there to tell us exactly what's going on, but sometimes it helps to just see what's happening in the sky as opposed to just seeing what's on the radar, James.
Let's show that picture once again. I know it's kind of gray and rough on this, but if we had to, and pop me up on the radar if you can, pop me up on the green screen if we can, okay? Some of you can possibly be seeing this, and it may be more rain-wrapped than anything. No, pop the picture behind me if you can. Can you do that? Is that a yes or no, Jeffrey? Because I can show you what it looks like. I mean, it's all rain-wrapped and doesn't look like we'll be able to show it. Let's show the picture again, though, without me. Okay, and if you look, it's really hard to tell. I can actually see this, but it's really rain-wrapped than anything else. But you can almost clearly see that this tornado is actually on the ground. More importantly, it's in the open area. Okay, it's in the rural area. So that is some real good news. But this tornado is not done yet. It is still on the ground, and it continues to stay on the ground as it continues to make its way off to the south and east.
Going back to what James was talking about, you know, we look at these thunderstorms. Let's go to Storm Tracker right now, and you can see the two distinct.
Oh, wait a minute, I can get on here now? Okay,
oh, you're
I'm sorry, Eric. Let me just show you
ahead.
Here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here's you can see the V-neck. Here it is, right here. Okay, and down here. Okay, so if you follow my line right here, that's the shape of the tornado right there. Okay, that is taking place. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
I was going to say, you know, a lot of times these thunderstorms, they cycle, which means they'll produce a tornado, and they're using up so much energy to actually produce that tornado that the tornado will lift, and it will take some time for that thunderstorm to continue to mature and then produce another one. So even though we may not have that immediate tornado threat anymore, it's not as prevalent as it was across Sherrard and Orion. We may see something else develop here shortly across parts of the area. And also, you were talking about that inflow.
Yeah.
There's nothing obstructing the inflow into these thunderstorms. So much like an engine, this is actually the warm, moist air that's working into the storm. And then what happens is you can kind of see it gets vented out in this direction. See?
Right.
It's vented out in that direction. So these are two very mature supercell thunderstorms that still could produce some more tornadoes as we head through the next several few minutes. Still seeing quite a bit of rotation out of this cell just to the south of Dixon. And this is the cell that was, you can see there near Harmon. Just the bright colors indicating the couplet going over I-88. This looks like it went through Sterling, perhaps doing some damage, and we're working to confirm that. But this is a pretty significant storm as it worked through the Sterling Rock Falls now.
Yeah, it almost appears like
Harmon.
it was, yeah, right around Harmon itself. In fact, it looks like that, and it appears that, I don't have it on mine, but it will in just a little bit. Amboy, Sublet, new tornado warning out for them. So likely no surprise, actually, that they are extending that warning out to places for Amboy as well as around Sublet. So that will be something to keep an eye on. That is actually in Lee County, just north of Lamoille and Mendota. So people in Mendota, Lamoille, just keep an eye on it. We're going to be monitoring this path, the storm itself. We've been noticing that, you know, these storms have a mind of their own. I think we're going to with that
Sure.
is that these storms that they've been moving more west to east, but like the Ottumwa storm that we just saw just south, that storm was moving more east. Now it's moving due south. So even though it had indications of moving close to the Keokuk area, it's now moving due south. So they kind of have a mind of their own. So we have to monitor not just the towns that are in the box itself, in these tornado warnings boxes, but just outside the box as well, because they can steer either way, mainly in these cases more to the south than to the east. We'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, and the big thunderstorms, the bigger the storm, the more they'll tend to make a right turn anyway to try to get toward the higher moisture content. So we go back into the cell over Rock Island County, not looking quite as impressive.
Right.
As it was. So, I mean, there's some good news for folks in the Orion area. Not seeing as much rotation. We're not seeing the brighter colors like we did earlier. So that could be an indication that this storm is either cycling or it is weakening here at 40 minutes after 7.
Denise, you have some information for us.
Yeah, this is kind of concerning, and we are working to confirm it, but we're getting all kinds of reports right now off of social media about the things that people have seen as these storms have gone through. So this post in particular, I'm very curious about. A lady on Facebook named Michelle says that she was actually at the mall in Sterling when this storm came through. She said the mall had kind of bunkered into a bathroom, and then the doors at one point flew open to the main entrance of the mall. She says the weather came inside and the roof came off of Dunham Sports. So we don't have, we haven't independently verified that report, but that is out on Facebook right now. So hopefully there are no injuries at the mall. We're, again, working to confirm this right now, but that's just one thing that we are hearing from this storm out of the Sterling area.
And the other thing, of course, is some people are losing their power as this storm is getting more intense and is going through the area. Of course, in the Edgington area, about 90 people are without power, according to Mid-American Energy. ComEd, Commonwealth Edison, which takes care of the Sterling Rock Falls area, is reporting scattered power outages basically from the Fulton-Clinton area on up through Morrison and into Sterling Rock Falls. Obviously, Burlington, nothing in that area quite yet because the storm is, as James was pointing out, heading to the south. But here you see the storm as it's going through Sterling Rock Falls, and then we zoom out to show you those 3 cells that have these 2 men most concerned.
Let's go ahead and I want to go to the GR Level X if we can real quick, and I'm going to make my way to the green screen. Can we go to the GR Level X real quick? Just pop it up. Just want to show you the history of this this particular cell that produced the rotation, the tornado on the ground in Rock Island County. Just went back a few frames here, and as we do, you can see how you can see where the couplet is, where that little icon is located, and you can go ahead and now pop me up back on the green screen if you can, and then we can show you. Go back to the GR Level X if we can. Can pop that back up. There we go. Thank you. And of course, here's Mineland, here's Oak Grove, there's Reynolds, there's the couplet. Now Eric's going to go ahead and put this in a rotation here. Go by step, and watch what happens here. This storm has kind of been falling apart as it makes its way off to the north and east. Now, once again, it could be getting blocked by, at least the inflow being blocked by this part of the cell, storm itself, that may be robbing it from producing any more rotation. So that will be some good news. But as Eric just mentioned, there could be some recycling going on with this system as it continues to make its way off to the northeast. Still a very, very dangerous storm that is taking place. Eric, let's see. Can we? Think I'm not. If I'm reading this right, I believe the tornado warning.
It's canceled.
It's been canceled.
Yeah.
So
the rotations is just a little bit weaker than it was. So, I mean,
it got blocked out. So that is some good news there. So really the only storm that we have going on, and let's just verify this if we can. Eric, why don't you take it away, talk about what we're noticing on the storm tracker, especially that storm which is now right around the Nelson area.
Yeah, this thunderstorm, and if you are just joining us here on News 8, we have continuing coverage. We're starting to get reports of some damage in and around the Sterling Rock Falls area. The rotation went right over your 2 communities. Now still seeing a tornado warning for Lee County in Illinois. So that is mainly to the south of Dixon. So Sterling Rock Falls, it went over the Nelson area, and then south of the interchange there of 26 and 88, just south of town, near the Farm and Fleet, the Walmart area. Now this continues to pull off toward the south. This is a classic shape. I mean, this is really easy to see. When you've got this, you've got the circulation. It's really easy to see where this is. You've got the dry air coming in here, and a tornado would be right in there. about as easy as you can see it on the radar. So if you're in Amboy or Sublette, you've got to take your tornado precautions because this storm has a history of producing damage from an unconfirmed tornado.
8:15. That is when how long the warning is out until for areas around portions of Lee County. Of course, keeping an eye on that storm as it approaches the town of Amboy, and given its movement as such, looks like Sublette, you're going to be under the gun too. So that's why that tornado warning is out for those two towns, Amboy and Sublette, for another, I would say, half an hour or so. Fortunately, the good news is that's a good-sized storm going on around the Quad Cities, but more importantly, the rotation is not there. That is even better news, but still a very dangerous storm. Has a whole lot of lightning with it as that storm continues to make its way off to the east. This is on our...
You want me to turn the lightning on?
Yeah.
I was watching you on News 8 at 5 and 6. You said you turned the lightning off because you couldn't see where the rain is. Now that right there is proof in the pudding, my friends. Because
that's a bad storm there, Eric.
You don't want to be outside in that. Even though there is no official warning out for Rock Island County, you do want to stay indoors away from windows just because of the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes going on.
And keep in mind, too, this is a very slow-moving storm. Has a whole lot of rain. In fact, very likely this is dealing with the same situation that we had up around the Whiteside County area, where this storm was moving about 20-25 miles an hour. It already dumped about 1 to 2 inches of rain. It's still raining in those same areas, so maybe an additional inch, and that's where the flash flooding for portions of northern Whiteside County is going on until about maybe 11:15. Eric, I wouldn't be surprised if even they threw out a flash flood warning for this storm, even though there's no rotation with it for the time being.
For the Rock Island County and
I wouldn't be
Mercer.
surprised because this storm is only moving about 20-25 miles an hour as well.
Yeah, it's been sitting there a long time. And we get a little bit more concerned when you have these heavy 2-inch per hour. I mean, if it's producing 2 inches per hour, we know that that's been sitting there for an hour. So we're probably going to see some flash flooding out of that. So Milan, especially as you're going up the hill on 67 south of town out toward Coyne Center and points southward to Viola, it could be some very significant flash flooding.
Denise, you have some information for us.
Yeah, we actually have another picture that we want to show you. We're also getting some interesting information from a viewer who's out in Andalusia right now. This is from, well, let's take a look at this picture first. If you can see the shape there, the dark shape there in the background, James can give us a better idea of what we're looking at. But on Twitter, it was labeled as a wedge tornado. Is that what you think you're seeing there, James?
I would have to say so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is really, I have not seen that around here locally in a long time. I mean, you can see how it's well, and you see the wedge shape with it. Looks like a fat tornado that we have here. And you can see it right here. Is one edge of it right here, and there's the other edge of it right there. And that was taken just northwest of Newton, as that was a storm that was making its way off to the south and east. So really a really impressive picture. Thank you, Stephen, on that. Hopefully, and the fact that he's a chaser. He's a chaser, so that's good. He knows what he's doing, and I know that storm was getting closer and closer. He was taking cover, so that is really some good news. And we appreciate some of the pictures that are coming in, especially from the chasers, so we can share that with you. Let the professionals take care of that, folks. We don't need you to go out and take those pictures and be a hero. That's not what you want to do. You want to take cover immediately with these storms. Fortunately, the only tornado warning that we have is in Lee County, right west of Amboy, even around Sublette. That's where, we had to point it out, that's where it is. That's where the rotation is likely taking place. Eric is now kind of widening that picture even more, and you can see it right there.
See the green and red together?
Rather impressive. That's a classic signature that we...
It's only 24.
Moving toward the radar site, air moving away from the radar site, and it's all spiraling just west of the Amboy area.
Yeah, so that went right over Sterling Rock Falls. We don't have any confirmation that it was a tornado, but we do hear some unconfirmed reports of some pretty serious damage in and around the Sterling Rock Falls area. This originally formed around Morrison and then pushed eastbound and kind of hugged Highway 30 for a time, crossed 30 somewhere south in the east of Sterling, right through there, and then moved toward Harmon, and now is heading toward Amboy, Illinois. Amboy, a population of about 3,000. So we hope that everybody in Sterling Rock Falls did heed the warnings. The Weather Service did a fantastic job of getting the warnings out. As soon as the couplet started to get tight, and then the warning came out. And so we always hope that when that warning does come out, that people are actually heeding the advice to seek shelter.
I think another thing we need to point out, and Eric, let's go ahead and zoom this out even more, because, I think people are asking, when is the threat going to be over with? When is that threat going to be over? And we've been monitoring that cold front that is just out to our west. And Eric's going to go ahead and line up right there. That's where the cold front is. So once we get that cold front out of here, folks, then you know what? Then things are going to calm down. And that's the trend that we're looking at as we go into Tuesday. And that will be a nice sight to see out there. But that's where the cold front is. We're getting some nice flow coming in from the south within these storms, nothing really blocking it. And that's why these storms continue its general pace from west to east, not really weakening too much. Maybe the structure, as far as a rotating structure is concerned, may be weakening just a little bit for the time being. But nonetheless, these are still very dangerous storms that continue to make their way off to the north, off to the east. A lot of lightning coming down with these storms, some blinding rain coming down from these storms. So that's what we have to be concerned about. Now, with these storms that we have out to here, the west, Eric, I would think that, given how much instability has been thrown into these storms that we see here, these may not be so bad.
And, we talk about the inflow. All right, so the arrows that I've drawn in from the south, so there's plenty of warm and humid air. But we don't have that in the storms out in eastern Iowa right now.
His dad, Stu, was an outfielder. Big swing and a miss. 12-year career in the Dodger and Blue Jay systems. 8 games in the major leagues with LA in 1985.
That's it, huh? I'm surprised. I thought he was around a little longer than that. I remember Stu. Nice jacket, Stu.
Ball, 1 strike.
This guy not afraid to turn it loose. He strikes out a lot, but he also works a lot of walks. He walked 100 times as a minor leaguer last year. He's got a walk rate better than twice league average.
Did Stu Mahan ever do the Dodgers?
Stu, that's for the nice jacket, Stu. That was a Spicoli line. Yeah, Stu was out there. I don't know that he ever did Dodger games, but he was out there in that market. Used to see him at Dodger Stadium.
Puig runs and Peterson fouls into the upper deck.
As a matter of fact, Stu's a big hockey fan. He was I don't know, he might have been from Montreal originally.
Okay.
Some hockey in his background.
Got it all covered tonight.
It all comes together. Puig a threat to steal. Only tried once this year and he was caught. The Dodgers woeful in that department. They're actually below 500. They've stolen 14 bases and been caught 17 times. So they prefer to slug.
Cutter missed the outside corner. It's 2-2 on Peterson. Hernandez led off the inning with a home run. Wada eventually had to leave due to an apparent arm issue. And if you didn't know who that guy in the dugout was or is, it's Don Mattingly, Dodger manager. 5th year as the Dodgers skipper. High payroll, high major payroll, $270 million or so. And a fair amount of it's on the DL right now. They battled some injuries, particularly on their pitching staff. Brandon McCarthy, Hyun-Jin Ryu.
Done and done. Carl Crawford's on the 60-day.
Brandon League. And they get Brandon Beachy back.
Yeah, they got 3 Brandons on the DL. Let's lead the league in that department.
Full count, 3-2.
Peterson showing that good discerning eye here.
Yeah, the interesting thing is 2 of their best performers this year. I haven't even looked at what they make, but not a whole lot. Turner and Peterson. in this high payroll club.
Peterson, the emerging rookie, and Turner, the late bloomer.
Puig takes off with 2 outs, and that one is popped up, and again the wind will give it a chance. No, it's going to get out of play. We should note the Dodger Cub connection and all the stuff going on in LA with their front office shakeup. Andrew Friedman is now running their baseball operations department. He was in Tampa Bay. That move allowed Joe Maddon to opt out as the Rays manager and eventually get hired by the Cubs. He walked him. So consecutive 2-out walks to bring up Turner. Turner has homered in 3 consecutive games going into tonight. Began the year as a super utility guy. Juan Uribe was their their third baseman. Uribe was traded to Atlanta in late May, and right now the Dodgers, they cannot keep Turner out of the lineup.
Hit 340 last year. Came out of nowhere. I mean, he was always a good offensive player, good solid line drive hitter, but nothing like he did last year. And he's followed it up with an outstanding first half this year. 331 on base, 399. Got the second highest line drive rate in the league. And obviously, line drives turn into hits way more than ground balls and fly balls do.
Already a career high with 9 home runs. He hit 7 last season. You know what? He's had kind of the Jake Arrieta career. Change uniforms and snap your fingers, and all of a sudden you go, whoa.
Born in Long Beach, went to Cal State Fullerton, maybe just getting back to the West Coast. I doubt it. It doesn't seem like a very reasonable thing to consider. I'm sure he enjoys it there, but has to be more than that.
Still 0-2 on him. A fortuitous complete game by Jake Arrieta, right? After the Wada injury here in the 3rd inning. You mentioned it yesterday, being able to
save the pen, save some bullets. You never know what tomorrow will bring.
Ross now has Puig caught. Throw to second. He's out. Not sure where he was going.
Puig being Puig.
That's huge for Travis Wood. So Turner, one of the hottest hitters in baseball, will have to lead off the next inning with nobody on. 1-0 Dodgers in the 3rd. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Chicago Cubs and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Chicago Cubs.
Come home to Candlelight Inn, located in Sterling, Rock Falls, and Clinton. Whether you delight in our mouth-watering starters, delicious dinners, or our home-style meals, Candlelight Inn serves it up fresh every day. Try our delicious original or buffalo-style chicken George, the hand-dipped delicacy that everyone is talking about. The secret's out. Fresh, quality, comfort food from Candlelight Inn, with 3 locations to serve your appetite: Sterling, Rock Falls, and Clinton.
Thanks for watching the kids, Mom. It's great having you close by again.
Ready to make the move?
Ready.
Change our home search to 4 bedrooms. It's twins.
Whatever is next in your life, Mel Foster can help you find your home.
When your car gets wrecked, call Auto Body Direct.
I recommend Hanford Insurance in Geneseo, selling nationwide. I see firsthand the inferior parts some insurance companies want to put on your car when it gets wrecked.
We make sure you get all new factory parts on your car with the OEM endorsement.
If you want your car fixed with the parts that were made for it,
call Hanford Insurance. And
when your car gets wrecked, call Auto Body Direct.
Let's go places!
Hey, Cub fans, let's go. Don't miss your chance to catch the best matchups in baseball. Reserve your place in line for history in the making. Join the season ticket holder waiting list. It's easy, it's free to register. Look out. For details, visit Cubs.com/waitlist.
One 0 Dodgers on the Hernandez leadoff home run. Addison Russell, 325 over his last 12 games.
Yeah, had a very nice road trip. Some sparkling plays in the field. Really good at bats. He's really settled in nicely. He's kind of flying beneath the radar because of the presence of Kris Bryant. But he too is having one fine rookie campaign, among the best in baseball. And boy, there's a lot of good young players coming into the game.
Ball spinning in foul territory. No chance for it to get fair, so Ellis picked it up. Now 2-2. Back to the top. Fowler and Rizzo here in the third after Russell. It's 5 strikeouts. So 5 out of 9 have punched out against Kershaw.
Pretty good chance he's going to get to his 4th consecutive double-digit strikeout game. There's a power slider down and in under the swing of Addison Russell. Some pretty elite company there is Clayton Kershaw, a gentleman with 3 or more size.
Right now, he would not be considered the favorite this year. But there's a long way to go. Some people just hand it to Max Scherzer based on his last 2 starts. He's 8-5 with the major league leading 176.
He might be Cy first half.
Garrett Cole be another guy. That ball driven the other way into right. So Fowler now 17 out of 40 in his career against Clayton Kershaw, batting well over 400.
Yeah, if you look at your baseball scouting book and it says Clayton Kershaw under the listing of who he hates to face, you're going to find Dexter Fowler with those numbers. Dexter, what's the big deal about Kershaw Fowler?
So Garrett Cole leads the majors in wins, 11-2 with a 178. Max Scherzer is 8-5 with a 176. And just threw a no-hitter following a 16 strikeout 1-hitter.
Greinke goes tomorrow. He's got a 181 earned run average.
There you go. So Kershaw may not even be the best Cy Young candidate on his own staff at the moment. Lifted into center. A little slip by Peterson. He has to dive to make the catch. So he actually played that into a better play. Oh, and Fowler fortunately got hit by the thrower. He would have been out. If that ball doesn't hit Dexter, I think they got him.
Yeah. Dexter took a little while to read that one to make sure the catch was made. Don Mattingly's out there to press his case on something, and you see the slip there by Peterson.
Maybe Peterson did that on purpose.
Yeah.
You base it on all the things we've heard about him.
That good.
He is that good. I mean, he shouldn't have had to dive, but the slip caused it. Now, there's nothing Fowler did there, is there?
No.
He just ran to the base.
Yes, he didn't see the ball. And Gonzalez trying to make the case that Dexter intentionally got in front of that throw.
And he's not feeling great.
No, Balky going back in, and Helber out to check on him. Busy night for the trainers. That's never a good thing for the club. Might have rolled an ankle, maybe.
It's like lower left leg / ankle.
You see that a lot of center fielder retreating on a swing like that, especially with a powerful guy like Rizzo up there. So a bad read, a slip, a recovery, all leads to some confusion. And
you know, I don't know if he did anything at the end or if the ankle was already bothering him.
We'll keep a close eye on him and see how he comes out of it after this half inning. And just in case he's playing possum and is perfectly healthy and thinking about running, Kershaw's going to take a shot at him.
Who used to do that? Is there somebody in the 70s? I remember somebody telling me a story about a guy who always acted like he was hurt.
Mickey Rivers had that reputation.
Okay.
Just watching Mickey walk was enough to make you think he couldn't run. He's one of the fastest guys in the league.
Was that affectation on purpose, or just
I
kind
don't
of
think
way
so.
he
That's just his style.
Two strikes, 2 outs. Third inning.
No. He's trying to sell it there. Jordan Baker wouldn't open up that outside corner for him.
So glad we didn't actually kind of break out going back to
that's why we have to continue
commercial.
with this stuff.
That's right. This is a very dangerous situation. We haven't had this since, I believe, the situation that we had, I believe, was a couple of months ago or so, Eric, when we had the storms that popped up just west of the Quad Cities and making its way through Scott and Clinton County, right around DeWitt, even around the town of Clinton. So a very busy, very active pattern that is going to be going on throughout this evening. And to us, it's really no surprise. We really had all the ingredients there to not only produce some strong to severe thunderstorms, but the possibility that, you know, we could expect to see some spin-ups. And already we are now up to 3, and this is our third one right here. Very impressive that we're seeing right now, Eric, on the storm tracker itself. Tornado warning until 9 for southern Henry County. So Woodhull, Cambridge, as we just mentioned, Andover, take cover right now, and this warning goes all the way to Galva and Kewanee. Here are there's a future track as far as the time when this particular part of the storm will be arriving. Should be around the Kewanee area in less than a half an hour. Cambridge, Andover, of course, we just mentioned. Just take cover right now. It's on its way. It is heading to your town. Take cover right now. Go into that basement right now, because you want to put as many walls between you and the storm outside. So take cover immediately. You can see how Eric put a nice little display on the wind velocity. That's the target right there that we're monitoring. And you can see how the storm is going to be, it continues to make its way off to the east. Not surprised that this warning is just for the southern half of Henry County. There's Andover right there, Eric, and I believe there's 150 right here. There's 74 right here as well. So
the interchange right there that has the gas stations that I've gotten gas a couple of times right there in Andover. So that, just to kind of give your perspective, that's where the tornado would be right now, and that would be heading through Andover. So Andover, Cambridge, Bishop Hill, you've got to be in your safe place now for that tornado warning. I'll just read a little bit from the Weather Service here about the official warning. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Lynn Center, or 9 miles west of Cambridge. It's moving east at 25 miles per hour. $half-sized hail and a tornado will be impacting the area. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Andover 8:15, Cambridge 8:30, Galva 8:50, and Kewanee at 9 o'clock. So take your tornado precautions. If you're in Galva or Kewanee, you've got some time before you need to get into the basement. But I want you to think about where you're going to go. If you're in Andover, you're Cambridge, you need to get into your safe place now, lowest level of your home. We'll stay on News 8. We'll continue to keep you covered with this dangerous situation. Crank up the volume on your TV and then go downstairs. You'll be able to hear what James and I are talking about as we continue with this tornado warning Henry County until 9.
Including the help of Jim and Denise as well. And Denise, I understand you have some information for us.
Yeah, we've been talking about the damage to the Northland Mall in Sterling. We've just gotten our first photo of that right now. If we could show people what we're seeing inside the mall. You see, that's the Dunham Sports at the mall in Sterling. And we have been told that there's some sort of roof damage there. And you can see clearly that some rain had fallen in there, leading to some water there on the ground. So again, this is the first picture that we're seeing out of the Sterling area from the mall. We do have a crew on the way hoping to figure out exactly what went on there. I did see another Facebook post from someone who said they were inside the mall at the time, that the mall staff ushered everyone into the bathroom to get everyone to safety during that time. But surely a really frightening experience if you're in a mall just trying to do your shopping and then this storm comes through.
And then add to that a number of people are without power right now. Commonwealth Edison saying almost 6,800 people are without power in Sterling Rock Falls. In Rock Island County, Mid-American Energy saying almost 500 of your neighbors are without power right now. Crews are trying to do what they can, but they really can't fix it if there is lightning going on at this time. So this power outage may last a while for some people.
Thank you to everyone who's been keeping us posted on Facebook and Twitter. It's so appreciated, and we also really appreciate that you do it safely. We will get the information eventually, so please do not put yourself in harm's way by sending us photos or videos or anything like that. But to the people who have been able to do it safely, thank you very much. And we'll continue to bring you everything that we're getting on social media here on News 8 during these warnings.
And we can't thank enough. Of course, the social media has been a plus for us as far as getting us a nice, clear picture of what's going on with each of these storms that have been taking place, not just south of the Quad Cities, making its way into Henry County, but also a storm that has made its way through Whiteside County, now making its way through portions of Lee County. So we can't thank you enough. It really helps out even the viewer itself as far as what is actually going on with the particular storm itself. But right now, the latest warning that we have in our viewing area is this one, this tornado warning for southern Henry County. That's in southern Illinois, okay? That's in Illinois, southern Henry County. That does include the towns of Andover, Cambridge, Bishop Hill, even around Galva and Kewanee. And that is until, I believe, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock. So a good 45 minutes. And why is this warning so long? Because the storm itself is not moving very quickly. Last indicated that the storm was only moving about 25 miles an hour. So that is why the warning itself is lasting for, usually on standard, it's usually about 30 minutes, but it's a slow moving system, and that's why the warning is out for about 45 minutes for this particular area. And of course, we have to be concerned about the very heavy rain that is falling with this storm. Likely going to get an inch, maybe even 2 from this storm as it makes its way eastward. If you can refresh my memory, Eric, did the people from the National Weather Service or the spotter itself report the potential for hail?
1 1/4 inch diameter hail.
1 1/4 inch. So definitely quarter size, dollar size. I believe that is the case as far as the size is
I've got
concerned.
my refresher, my cheat sheets, half dollar size hail.
we always like to double check as far as
right there
what the actual size could be. But if it's more than a quarter size or inch, that means it's pretty large and enough to do some damage as well.
Yeah, hopefully it's not as bad as what happened in Cedar County earlier today.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, that if you hadn't had a chance to see our story from the 5 o'clock over at just north of Mechanicsville, there was softball-size hail that fell. I even put it on my my Facebook page as well. Rather impressive. Want to thank Dan Gottschalk, by the way. He's been a weather watcher since I've been here at WQAD, and he continues to go out and give us information, especially when it's more extreme situations like we're dealing with today. He showed us a nice picture of it. And it was really, really impressive to see that hail, and continues in even these storms right here, likely continuing with some hail. Maybe not softball size, but certainly large enough, Eric.
So the possible tornado, so this is radar indicated near Andover, is between mile markers 21 and 29 on Interstate 74. So it's crossing Interstate 74. Areas that will be affected include Bishop Hill, the Kewanee Airport area, Ophium, Johnson Sock Trail, the German Corner, and Ula, which is all in Henry County. Smaller communities there as well, but nonetheless, you need to be taking your precautions, because I don't see that the rotation is as tight as it was. One of the reasons why, it's probably because of the fact that we have a little, I'm just going to call it junk for lack of a better word, that is kind of taking a little bit more of this inflow. It's blocking the inflow from right in here is the circulation, all right? So we've got this that's formed. In fact, I'm going to put this in motion. I want you to watch that part, and you can see how it just kind of whoop, fills in, and that chokes it off. So we may not see as serious of a situation as this continues to move toward the east, but we'll see if this recycles again. I mean, it may have produced a tornado south of Orion along 150. It may have been on the ground. It was pretty tight, and now it's relaxed just a little bit. Still tornado warning, though, continues for about 44 minutes, though.
Even us meteorologists use the word junk. even on the radar, but it kind of makes a little sense. But Eric's absolutely right about this. Once it gets any type of disturbance that gets in front of the flow going into the storm itself, really will make it fall apart. And likely it's coming from, you can see this little wave right here that grew and making its way quickly ahead and south of the actual inflow into that system. So that's probably why we're kind of losing some of that rotation. Doesn't mean that it's all safe to go outside. No, there's rotation still going on. It may be weak, but there's still rotation going on with that storm as it makes its way through southern Henry County. So even though what we just mentioned, it doesn't mean that you can go out. I mean, if you're watching us from Kewanee and Galva and Bishop Hill, you got to get in the basement right now, okay? There is that warning out. Sirens are going off. You need to take cover immediately, because it's still a very dangerous situation that is going on. Something that, of course, we haven't been showing on here is all the lightning that's going on. These are some crazy storms that have been going on, and we're getting a cluster of lightning from this alone. And you can see where the clusters of lightning strikes are taking place is probably where the best dynamics of the storm is taking place as well, and it's right around where the possible rotation is taking place, just near the Andover area, as it continues to make its way off to the east. In fact, just off the screen here, you can see, look at all the mess going on just around the Mendota area. A lot of lightning going on as well. Haven't heard anything about any type of warning as of yet, but if it was, it'd probably be making its way through the area. And very likely, you know what there is? There is a little box located just north of LaSalle. So we know we always have some viewers around Cherry, but also around Mendota, Eric. And I know they usually have a tendency of watching us, and you can see a lot of lightning going on. And possible some rotation going on, maybe just north and west of the Mendota area.
Let's take off the lightning once again, and we can check it out.
Let's do that, please.
See what's happening over there. And you can see there it is, just on 52 between Sublet and the Mendota area. Guys, I did get a report. This is from a viewer on my Facebook page. There's a gas leak at Northland Mall, and this is just from a viewer reporting. Christy Smith Norman says that everyone around that mall is being evacuated, and that would be from Sterling from earlier with that possible tornado. So thanks, Christy. And everybody on social media for really posting and being the eyes and ears. You know, we've got news crews that are out there gathering information, and we'll bring you all of the reports from around the region. But as long as it's safe to do so, don't go out in these storms before. You know, we'll get all of the damage reports afterwards, but when you feel it's safe, you know, we appreciate it if you let us know as well.
Let's go ahead and do this too for everyone who's just joining us right now. Of course, you know, we've been talking about some of the warnings that are going on, but Eric, you must be reading my mind, because we want to tell everyone when the threat will eventually be over. That's the important thing. When is this all this crazy weather or this junk that we've been dealing with in some parts of the storm itself, when is it going to come to an end? Well, we've got to get the front through here, okay? And that front is getting closer and closer and closer. Of course, the Quad City is here, and if Eric went ahead and put where the frontal boundary is, you can see what we're going to be dealing with. And it's probably located, looks like you were able to draw it on the screen there, but for some reason it's not popping up.
Do it on
over
the other.
Here. But we're pretty much talking about right here. I think from, we say, yeah, there we go. I would say just Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Oskaloosa, that's where the front is. And once that charges its way eastward, anything along or behind that front, it's all gone. It's all gone. So we are noticing some activity popping up right around Washington, but nothing severe. In fact, these storms are pretty much running into a little bit more stability ahead of it and then likely falling apart. So no surprise whatsoever. Some more storms trying to fire up right around the Burlington area. But nothing really more than that. But these are the big storms that are going on just north of LaSalle. Of course, the tornado warning box going on until 9 o'clock for southern Henry County right here. And then you have the storms way down to our south, pretty much out of the viewing area. I know Macomb, you've been keeping an eye on those storms just out to our west. Maybe you can see some of that lightning out in the distance. But you're looking okay, because that particular storm, now located around extreme northeastern Missouri, is almost taking a due south course. So you should be looking pretty quiet going through the evening hours. Big concern, though, right now is that storm located around southern Henry County. I know we've been kind of chatting for the past 5 minutes or so, and with that in mind, probably getting more updated images, Eric, regarding that particular storm. So let's go ahead, if we could, let's go and eventually here zoom in just a little bit. But you have something to say?
I was reading there's a new mesoscale discussion out from the Storm Prediction Center, just saying that the threat for tornadoes continues, even though we're heading in toward sunset, especially from these two cells, the one over LaSalle County and the one over Henry County. So the threat will continue for isolated tornadoes as that continues to move east. Really, I think, you hit the nail on the head just a little while ago, the fact that the front's going to come through and all of this is going to be gone. So I think in the next 45 minutes or so, we're really going to see an improvement in the in our chance of severe weather. I think that's really going to go down.
Also something to keep in mind too, Eric, as we're waiting for any types of updates on the storm that's going on in southern Henry County. We're going to just looking a little bit farther ahead, and you mentioned it on Good Morning Quad Cities. You mentioned it on the 11 a.m. and it's still on track that we're going to have to keep watching the skies on Wednesday evening as well, because those same storms could very likely produce what we're dealing with right now.
It's weird because, all right, so we were tracking severe weather and we were under tornado watch Saturday night. All right, we got a break Sunday night. Here we are on Monday night. We'll get a break on Tuesday. And then Wednesday night, we're going to have another threat of severe weather. So it's not going to be over as soon as we wish, but hopefully we can get through without some serious damage out of these thunderstorms tonight.
Fortunately, we're going to be seeing some nice long breaks in between, which is kind of nice. I mean, I think last week we had a lot of, we had plenty of dry hours in between storms, and now we're going to get to a point as we go through this week that we may be talking about plenty of some dry days, which is something we haven't talked about in quite a while. Getting some better structure. Looks
all
like.
All right, you see the junk's gone.
The junk is gone.
The junk that was south of that inflow is now moving away. So right in here, see how that's starting to go away? See how it's getting darker? That means the rain is lighter. That means that we're going to allow the inflow back in here, and that means that this could ramp up again. So I think in the next few scans of our Doppler radar velocity, we may notice that this picks up. If there was a tornado, it would be southwest of Cambridge, and this is going to be moving south and east right toward Bishop Hill. And the Galva area. So, in fact, I was just down there in Bishop Hill over the weekend. So I was talking with Marty down there.
Good old Marty, yes.
Yeah, we were touring the church. So she said she watches Channel 8, and so I'm sure Marty and all the folks in Bishop Hill are going to seek shelter as we do have this tornado warning until 9 o'clock for Henry County.
Likely just south and east of Andover. It could be pretty much right, oh my goodness, it's pretty close to the town of Andover. And Andover is just about, 5 miles or so west of Cambridge. And, it's in a wide open area, too. So got to be extra cautious about any type of debris that may be taking place with this particular storm. If it is touching the ground itself, but nonetheless, Doppler is indicating some type of rotation going on with this storm as it continues to make its way off to the south and east. Still, it looks like if we were really picky, you can see it's just south of the town, so that's always some great news. Let it just spin itself around farm fields. That's always a good thing. But nonetheless, it's a very dangerous storm as it makes its way off to the south and east. Of course, we're getting a tremendous amount of help. Always great to go to other sources as well as far as what's going on with not only the current storm, but what the history of the other storms that have been going on. And Denise, I understand you have some information for us.
Yeah, we actually have one of our crews who is standing by for us right now in the Andalusia area. I understand News 8's Anna Green is there. Oh, check that out. That's the Andalusia sign. It looks a little bit crumpled there. And just remind the viewers what exactly came through that area at just a few maybe half hour or so
Well, I would
ago.
say, from the still picture that we had, we showed it about maybe 20 minutes ago, and maybe in just a little bit, hopefully we can actually show it as well. But we had a nice little cone-shaped tornado that was on the ground just near the Andalusia area. Actually, just, I would say, I believe it was just south of the Reynolds area of that particular storm. It was right around, it was pretty much right in this general area where that storm took place, where we saw that nice little cone-shaped take place around that area as it moved its way off to the east-southeast. But likely that sign probably encountered some of that rotation from that particular storm. Yes, Jim?
The other thing about Andalusia is that's also where that Boy Scout camp is, Loud Thunder area, and we've gotten information that all the children are safe. Everyone's fine. They were in the lodge. They were able to get shelter before the brunt of the storm hit. So that's incredibly good news for the area around Andalusia. But as you saw, we're starting to see some of the damage. And as James and Eric keep pointing out, a lot of this has hit the more rural areas. And farmers don't need that either. But, I mean, it's tough going for farmers these days. And you get the rain, and now you get some of these strong winds that are leaving an impact. And we're also seeing some of the impact in Rock Falls as well.
Yeah, we are still getting those reports about the damage at the mall in Sterling. I did get a picture here just a few minutes ago of what the roof actually looked like. We saw that picture inside. You can see there's some water on the ground, which obviously if there was some damage to the roof, there might have been some leaking in that area. I do understand that some people might be having a hard time getting a hold of anybody who might have been in the mall at the time. Verizon is apparently down, so there might be some communication issues there. We haven't heard any reports, though, of any injuries in the mall right now, which, as you imagine, at this time of night was probably a pretty busy place out there. So for right now, we are hearing about some flooding in that area, possibly a gas leak in that area. So we're hopeful that everyone gets to safety in the Sterling area
Also,
tonight.
power outages in that area. About 6,700 ComEd customers are without power. About 500 or more in the Quad City area, particularly Rock Island County, the Edgington area, as you were pointing out, Andalusia. Those areas also seeing power outages right now.
All right, I'm hoping that our producer saw the email that I just sent her of the picture of the roof at the mall. You know how when strong winds or even a tornado comes by, everything just looks churned up? Mm-hmm. That's kind of how this picture looked to me. It just looked kind of churned up, like you took that roof and put it in a blender. So that's the best way that I can describe it, just without being able to show you that picture right now. So hopefully we can here in just a few minutes. And I know that we do have News 8's Megan Noe. She's in that area trying to get set up to bring you the latest from there.
The good news is over in Sterling Rock Falls, everything is beginning to dry out, which is very nice. But indicating here, you can see what these green boxes are. What are these? These are actually flash flood warnings out, because in these two boxes that we have around portions of northern Whiteside County and going into Lee County, these are likely flash flood warnings that are going on until about 11:15. The one over in looks like in Whiteside County is going on until 1:15, I believe?
There's 1:30 a.m. for Lee County, and Whiteside is 11:15.
Likely these were areas, not only did we see about 1 or 2 inches of rain, but likely in some local areas.
I can pull that up for you.
Could you? Oh, that'd be awesome.
Let's go and pinpoint some rain.
And look at that. Oh, my goodness. Just training right near the Highway 34 and points north. Red is probably indicating a good solid, 2 inches or so, but wouldn't be surprised if we even had some local areas around 3. And the discussion that we're going to be having probably either starting late tonight or definitely going into tomorrow is where all this rain is going to go. And it's all upstream right along the Rock River. So even though the flooding down into Moline is under flood stage, it will likely go right back above flood stage, and that's something that's going to be a concern. Of course, Whitewater Gamblers, they always put on a great show. They couldn't do it last week because of all the flooding that was going on there. Right now it's below, but that may change very quickly as we head into next several days. Maybe what's being Monday and all, we might be seeing it somewhere around Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, where May could very likely be back above flood stage. But you can see Eric's plotting all the rainfall estimates. This is just based on the algorithms that we have going into the system. It gives us a projection of what potentially has fallen in these hometowns. And you can see in the red area, that's probably where we had the 1 to 2, even 3 inches of rain. Spots maybe a little bit less, especially with this storm that continues to make its way into southern Rock Island County. Once again, if you're just joining us, tornado warning out for southern Henry County until 9 o'clock. For Cambridge, looks like the worst of it's over with in Andover, but this storm continues to make its way off to the east-southeast. So Galva, Kewanee, you're definitely under the gun. The rotation, as Eric is showing, is likely just south and east of the Cambridge area. There's no, as we like to call it, junk. There's no junk south of this storm itself. So you can see a nice open flow going right into the storm, and then you're dealing with the wind structure with the storm itself. This is helping to produce that possible rotation, maybe a possible touchdown going on as well. We haven't heard about any type of debris from this storm. If it is, it's more dirt than anything else because it is running into a lot of the farm fields that we're dealing with. But likely this is possibly where the rotation is going at. It looks like just near the Bishop Hill area, a big concern there. So if you're watching us from Bishop Hill, take cover right away. Get in that basement, get as many walls, let me try this again. Try and get as many walls between you and the storm itself, and then you'll be A-okay. Okay, Denise, go ahead.
And as you talk about that storm in the Cambridge area, we've just gotten some information from a Facebook viewer. This is from Tyler, who says that all of the windows at Robbie's service station in Cambridge have been blown out. Things in the shop were blown around and smashed. He says the business is totally devastated. Now, that's in Cambridge. The picture you're looking at right now, this is the Northland Mall in Sterling. I described it for you a little bit a minute ago, but I thought the roof, when I saw it a little bit closer, looked like there was some visible damage. I can't tell seeing it at this size right now. But again, the reports we're hearing from the Northland Mall are that there was some roof damage, that there was a little bit of water inside of the mall because of that. There might be an evacuation going on right now because of gas leak, and that's all going on right now at the mall. There were shoppers in at the time, obviously being the evening hours, people getting off work and heading to the mall, running an errand and whatnot. But the good news is we haven't heard of any injuries out of the mall right now. We do have a crew in that area, hopefully working to get some of that confirmed for us.
So we have seen damage in two different areas. One is in the Sterling Rock Falls area. The other one is in parts of southern Rock Island County. But as Denise said, we've had no reports of any injuries. But right now, they're going to be picking up the pieces tomorrow morning. Power outages throughout the area as well right now.
All right, and let's go back on over to James and Eric following these storms.
Once again, and you can always check on our storm tracker on our website at WQAD.com. It is there for you 24/7. Right now, what Eric's doing right now, and it's great with this technology that we have, that we're able to, really break down this particular storm. What Eric has just done now is produced, now only showing where the tornado warning is. but also the track of the storm and what towns are actually going to be impacted. And as you can see, we've got Kewaunee and Galva on the map. On the path of this storm right now. Of course, Galva is right here. There is Kewaunee. So a very dangerous storm as it continues to make its way off to the south and east. And we talked about some window damage over in Cambridge itself at the station over there. So very likely this is producing winds maybe around 50, 60, even 70 miles an hour as it continues to make its way off to the south and east. Galva will be there about 10 minutes. Same will hold true even around Kewaunee. So right now, 8:34, so about 8:45 or so for that storm to be impacting those particular towns if it holds together. And you can see Eric
hope it splits the difference it goes between.
Yeah.
Right?
And that would be great. That would just be awesome. Of course, it seems like it wants to lean more toward the Kewaunee area. So if you're in the path, Kewaunee, take cover immediately. This is still showing some nice rotation, at least on the Doppler side of things, on our radar, showing some decent rotation. So you need to take cover right away. No. That it's always nice
out there, I think.
What's that?
Isn't the hospital out there just west of
the Kewaunee Hospital? Yeah, absolutely. That's something that I know that they're very likely. I wouldn't say I don't know about doing some evacuating, but certainly trying to make their way down to the basement. Of course, we've been noticing with these several storms that have been going on across the area that a lot of lightning has been taking place. A lot of power outages are going out as well. So if you're on the path of this storm, always a good idea to have that flashlight ready to go. Hopefully with some fresh batteries, because the power does go out in your home. You have that flashlight all ready to go.
The rotation doesn't seem that significant right now, but I think once that updates, we'll see a little bit better green and red representation there around that couplet, just because the reflectivity is curling around that way.
And another thing too is, Eric, I think we're getting a little bit more of that junk.
Yeah, it's going to block the inflow again right here around Altona.
Which would be really some good news. Jim, yes, you have some information for us.
Yeah, once again, we got about 500 people without power in Rock Island County, and we have some video from the Andalusia area. We're live at the scene right there, and you can just tell the force of the storm. These are some of the power lines in that area that have been simply snapped in half. Once again, about 470 without power right now in parts of Rock Island County, and this is a live picture. If we're able to zoom out a bit, maybe it gives you a little more perspective. But this storm obviously came through with some gusto and some gusts as well, with some of the damage that we're seeing in the rural areas of Rock Island County.
And you've got to be glad that it is these rural areas, because when you see damage like that, you know how bad of a situation that could be if it hits homes or businesses like that.
And now you got kind of that eerie quiet after the storm in Rock Island County. But like you said, one county over in Henry County, they are still seeing some very serious conditions.
The color of the sky,
great shots here, too. I mean, you can see looks like part of a roof was torn off of there. Kind of the view the shot that we're seeing right here is looking more to the east than anything else, and there is the Andalusia sign, which is pretty much twisted a little bit. Let's go back to the telephone poles that we have, and if we could actually spin that camera back where you can see the line of telephone poles, you almost might even get a clear picture as to where the brunt of that tornado that was on the ground made its way through right across that street. I don't think.
I'm sorry, James.
Yes.
The producers were talking to us about some of the damage that was going on in Rock Falls at the time, and they're now telling, I think it's Anna Green, who is out in Rock Island County, telling her to go back to get those pictures for you right now.
Great. Okay.
In the meantime, looks like we do have some more pictures out of the Rock Falls area that are ready to show you right now.
And that's one of the areas that we saw the tornadic thunderstorm, as the Weather Service described it, was right over Rock Falls. And this is some serious damage that we're talking about that happened while people were shopping inside.
And I think that the area of the mall, this is the Dunham's sporting goods store, I believe. That's what a lot of people are telling us right now. And that's what we saw in the pictures earlier. We saw some of that, the water inside of the mall, so that's likely probably the same area.
And what we really saw were the earlier pictures were the entryway, and this certainly looks like a rear portion of this store.
Right.
And we're talking about some serious damage, but once again, we've heard of no injuries, and that's perhaps, the saving grace of this storm.
Yeah, we did hear that some mall staff, was very proactive on this, which is exactly what you want. Obviously, policies and procedures in place worked very well here because people said that they were ushered into a bathroom. They rode out the storm with enough time. And so certainly when you look at damage like this, you know, if people aren't taking those precautions, that's where you have those injuries happen.
Boy, and we're starting to see this more and more, some of these big box stores where the dangers really pick up when the wind picks up as well. And you think of the Lowe's and the Walmarts and all of these large chains, they do have these procedures in place when these storms do come.
Exactly, and I'm curious to know what's exactly around the mall. I would imagine that there are other businesses around there or perhaps homes in that area. You would have to imagine that's a busy place where there would be a lot of either homes or businesses. So I'm curious if anyone in that area knows of any other damage in that place. But again, please let us know what's happening, but only if you can do so safely, James.
What we're seeing right here, and Eric went ahead and popped it up, and Eric, you can explain a little bit about this. These are actually storm reports that have been taking place in the past 24 hours, and it's safe to say, I think, Eric, that the storm reports that we have up to our north and west, likely the storms that took place during the morning hours during your time on the show, a lot of damaging winds that took place, nothing as far as any rotation, but even some hail that took place as well.
Yeah, we were tracking, you know, these two different rounds, and what's interesting is when you get a thunderstorm complex in the morning, a lot of times, you know, we were cloudy for most of the day. The clouds stabilized the atmosphere, so there were some question marks even up to 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Are we going to get anything out of this big wave? And certainly the tornado watch came out. All right, now we've got a couple of warnings. Now we've got confirmation of tornadoes on the ground, and now we're seeing the damage from this. So that's why we take these so seriously here at WQAD News 8, as we want to keep you ahead of the storm and keep you safe. And right now, we cannot assure complete safety for everybody because we still have that tornado warning in Henry County until 9 o'clock tonight.
We did have the, just briefly, we showed those red boxes that popped up, those counties that were in the red. That was actually part of the tornado watch that goes on until 11 p.m. We're actually noticing the cancellations of those watches just west of the river, so that's some good news, and that's all due in part to the boundary that continues to race its way slowly from west to east across our viewing area. So once that front does pass on by, then that threat is going to be over with, and then we're going to be seeing some calmer skies after that. Denise, you have some information?
Well, actually, we are ready to go now to News 8's Megan Noe, who is live in Sterling, right near that mall. Hopefully she can tell us what she's seeing out there. Hi there, Megan.
Yeah, hi there, Denise. We are in Sterling, and take a look at Northland Mall behind me. That is the Dunham Sports Store. You can see where the whole exterior wall has collapsed, and most of the roof has been torn off there as well. Now we're being kept quite a ways back at this point. We're on the back side of the mall because there is a gas leak, we're told, and fire department is back there with as well as the power company right now working to turn the gas off. So right now, crews are still here. They're actually blocking off the mall parking lot, so nobody's being allowed back here. The police tell me that there were people inside the mall, inside the store at the time. They did have to evacuate the whole mall, and actually it was only the Dunhams of the entire mall, only the Dunhams that actually got hit. There were people inside, and no injuries reported. Everyone was able to get out safely, which is pretty remarkable if you look at that. A bit of a mess right now. It seems like there's also quite a bit of water back here as well, so some sort of, the flash flooding, all this rain, which is making quite a bit of mess inside that mall. So again, crews here right now just working to get that gas turned off. Everybody is safely out of the mall at this time, and we will hopefully have more information for you as it develops tonight. Reporting live in Sterling, Megan Noe, WQAD News 8.
Okay, thank you, Megan. And that mall is located on the road between Sterling over to Dixon, near Sauk Valley Community College is in that area. So it's a development with a Walmart Supercenter in that area. It's a development that has really developed over the last few years in the Sterling area.
In the meantime, we want to show you, we do have another picture in Rock Falls of some tree damage. Hopefully we can pop that up for you right now. Check out that looks like a pretty sizable branch to fall on that house, causing a little bit of damage there. Don't really know the circumstances behind this one, if anyone was home at the time. Hopefully no one was hurt in that, but thank you to Tom for sending that in just a few minutes ago on Facebook.
That's showing you some of the damage that has occurred, and we're still worried about people who live in the area of Cambridge and Galva. And as you can take a look at live radar as this storm continues to move through Henry County right now. And James, what are we looking at right now?
Well, another warning just popped up. Another tornado warning popped up for portions of northern Stark County. That is until 9:30, and you can see it right here. That's until 9:30. Lafayette, which is located right there, is Lafayette. I think I pronounced that right. Lafayette is actually reported a possible rotation. Doppler indicated some type of rotation, so it's about 6 miles north of Lafayette, and it's moving off to the, I believe, Eric, east-southeast or east, around 40 miles an hour or
east,
so.
Just a little bit south of east at about 45 miles an hour. So, I mean, as luck would have it, this is splitting the difference, and it's going between Galva and Kewaunee.
Which is great. Farmers, we're really sorry, but the fact that we're saving lives here, that's the important thing. We're trying to protect as much property as we can and limit any type of damage that may be going on. So 2 warning boxes going on, the one until 9 o'clock for now looks like portions of southeastern Henry County. Cambridge, you're okay right now. The warning is out of your area, Andover as well, so that is some good news, but that warning goes on for another 15 more minutes for Kewaunee and also around Galva. For areas around northern Stark County, that is until 9:30 or so, and of course that includes the town of Bradford, looks like just north of Wyoming with this storm. So if we had to get a good idea, it could very likely be this. It's kind of been bouncing a little bit, hasn't it, Eric? As far as the rotation. So I think that we can safely say that, this rotation looks extremely weak, but nonetheless, there is some rotation possibly going on.
Yeah, it hasn't taken much to produce. I mean, even when you look back to the Edgington storm in southern Rock Island, northern Mercer County earlier on, the rotation wasn't that impressive when the report of a tornado came on the ground. So that tells us that this storm may not take as much rotation to produce versus the storm up into Whiteside County earlier on had a significant green-red couplet. You pretty much could tell exactly where that tornado was as it was moving across Sterling Rock Falls through Harmon, whereas this one, it may not take as much to produce a tornado here between Galva and Kewaunee. Still, if you're in Kewaunee, Galva, Bradford, seek shelter, basement preferably.
Okay, thanks, Eric. And of course, we can't, I'm going to say this, I can't thank Eric enough for coming on in. I know he's got the same passion as I do. If there was any type of severe weather coming our way, we would be here and we will give you the information, as much information, as long as we can give it until the threat is all said and done. Usually, you go to bed about, 6 o'clock. So you're way over your bedtime right now. I just want to point that out, okay?
but this is what we don't forecast here for the sunny days. We're working our best when the weather's at its worst. So we can't just let this go and say, happen in the evening time. You know what? What you're looking for is probably 2 experienced meteorologists working together and to figure out where the worst of the weather is going to be. And thankfully, right now, we don't have any major metropolitan areas affected. Sterling Rock Falls, you were the worst place to be here earlier this evening.
All right, but the important thing is that we haven't heard about any injuries or anything like that. We haven't heard about any fatalities. Yes, there is some damage to the mall out there in Sterling Rock Falls. We noticed just south of, just near Andalusia itself, of some power lines that are down. Even a roof that was torn, at least half the roof was torn off. But as far as any injuries, we haven't heard anything about that. So that is some real good news. A lot of the corn out there, I think some of it is a little flat because of the strong winds that not only that we've got from some of the rotation from some of the possible tornadic activity around the area, but some of the winds that are quickly rushing down from the storm itself, kind of flattening that corn. So hopefully, that corn will come right back up again. But I tell you, it's been a really a crazy past few hours or so with these storms that have been making its way across our viewing area. We kind of hinted on that as we were making ourselves prepared for the evening with the possibility of some severe thunderstorms. The concern was the possibility of maybe some isolated spin-ups, and that has been the case at least at 3 occasions across our viewing area alone. Yes, Eric?
James, in and around the Sublette area, I think that's just outside of our coverage area into Lee County, receiving reports, this is coming into media in Rockford, who say that there are many people trapped in mobile homes at Woodhaven Lakes Camping Resort in Sublette, Illinois. Mutual assistance.
That's a big camping area out there, too.
Is it?
Yes.
Mutual assistance has been requested from neighboring fire departments. Again, this is near Sublette. From Mark Henderson, Woodhaven Lakes Camping Resort. Many people trapped right now, so that's happening just now in Sublette, which is not far outside of Amboy. Yeah, it's a beautiful area. It's wooded. There's a lake there, and it's a very large place. Conceivably, several hundred people live in that area just southeast of Amboy along Highway 52.
It could be too because of all the rain that's fallen, and maybe there could be some flooding that's going on, and that's could be one of the reasons why some of the people out there are trapped. So we're going to get some more information on that. Very good. Thank you very much, Eric, on that. That's some great information. The rotating side of that storm, of course, that took place earlier has now made its way off to the east. So what we're dealing with basically here is not only a very heavy rain event from that storm, but also an event that's producing a whole lot of lightning. We haven't been showing the lightning lately only because it's been covering up some of the activity that has been going on. Some of that, look at all that lightning now just near the Marseilles area and near Sandwich. That's a whole lot of lightning, folks. That's a real dangerous storm. So even though they may not be, let's say, rotation around the Sandwich area, very dangerous storm that's going on with all this cloud-to-ground lightning that is taking place. Maybe not all 8,400 strikes.
There's no room for any more digits, James.
I think that's right. I'm wondering if this thing's ever going to tilt. Let's put it that way. But nonetheless, a very dangerous storm that is taking place. And, of course, we're watching the cluster of lightning strikes going on around Galva and even around Kewaunee. Possible rotation going on just south of the Kewaunee area. Yes, Jim?
Okay, we were talking about the damage in the Rock Falls area, and in particular Dunham Sports that you saw part of the wall collapsing, also the roof collapsing. We have on the phone somebody who was inside the sporting goods store when this happened. Gabriella, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about where you were and what you saw as this was happening?
I was actually in the pretzel place, which is outside of the Dunham Sports Store, and we saw the storm happening, and so a lot of us and other customers crowded around the bathroom area, and so all of a sudden we seen it coming, so we went in the bathroom, and we heard it. It felt like it went through the mall, but it went over it. And when we went out to check, we could see that the Dunham Sports roof had caved in, and we seen it raining through it. And then that's when everything occurred.
A bathroom with your younger sister. In short, good luck. You'll need it.
At Fifth Third Bank, we were curious. Could we help grads find the jobs they want? That's why we're giving away $1 million in job search training. Enter at 53.com/brandofview. Fifth Third Bank, the curious bank.
If ever you're not satisfied with one of our tires, please feel free to bring it back. Thank you. Discount Tire Company.
This summer, get ready for suspense. Unbridled jealousy.
She's still there.
New beginnings.
Goodbye.
And sheer exhilaration.
Lock and load.
Roger.
It's the event you don't want to miss. It's the Summer of Audi sales event. Get the Audi you've always wanted with zero do-it signing now during the Summer of Audi sales event.
The time is finally here for our biggest event of the year. It's the Summer of Audi, going on now at Audi Morton Grove.
Discover for yourself the largest Audi dealership in all of the Midwest.
Right now, lease a 2015 Audi A3 Premium Quattro for just $269 a month, or turn heads with a Q5 Premium Plus Quattro for just $359 a month. But these offers are only good for a limited time.
From my family to yours, welcome to the all-new Audi Morton Grove.
Tonight's Honda game summary looks like this. Home runs, providing the runs for each team. Hernandez for the Dodgers, Bryant for the Cubs. Kershaw still working. Wada left in the third inning due to some cramping in his deltoid. on his pitching arm. Honda Dream Garage Sales Event now at your Honda dealer. Travis Wood could get a win in relief. Anthony Rizzo pops it up.
Almost can't find it.
Well, he's looking for some help, and it's going to be the pitcher, Kershaw, coming to the rescue.
It's no fun for a catcher when you can't find it. Pitcher probably the last option you want in there making the play, but Kershaw appeared to be the best option. Turner saying it's right there. He would have been better off probably coming in and calling off Kershaw.
Bryant hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning to right. And we just had a bit of a power failure. It looks like several lights just went on the blink.
Pick me out a good one, Bobby.
So here comes Joe Madden chatting with Jordan Baker.
He's saying, I don't want my guys to hit without proper lighting. And Clayton Kershaw saying, let's go, man. We're good to go.
Yeah, Kershaw saying it's fine. And Joe's going, yeah, I'm sure you would think that. But
well, and it's good gamesmanship here, too. Even if Joe feels like it's good enough to hit in, if there's a delay of any length, Kershaw may possibly have to come out of the game or maybe just get knocked off his rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, what would be your guess here that we're at about 75% capacity with the lights?
I would say, yeah, I'm just
maybe a quarter.
We interrupt this programming for a WGN News special report.
Hi, folks. Additional information. The circulation on the velocity data in from our Doppler radar indicates this storm has intensified as it moves from Ottawa into parts of northwestern LaSalle County. There's been damage out there. We have some folks stuck in trailers. Tornado warning in the red area till 9:15, and also 3.34 inches of rain, a horrendous amount of rain in Nelson, Illinois, near Lee County. And look at this thing. This is one humongous thunderstorm 10 miles into the atmosphere, more than 50,000 feet. Also, we've had a couple little spin-ups here in DuPage County, nothing like the big cluster that is east-southeast bound there on the radar, but there you can see it. Now, you know what? We can lay in here the lightning data, and here's what we call the shear data, and this would be the track that any tornado might follow. So this is the area that's been damaged by winds coming out of Lee County and into parts of northwestern LaSalle County right there, and you can see this little red area, which indicates a spin-up of winds in that particular area. And here's the hail track, indicating this has been a prolific hail producer in that area as well. Arrival times in Mission, Illinois, 9:09, Big Grove at 9:20, Lisbon 9:27, Yorkville at 9:35, Manuka at 9:50. Here is Chicago, by the way, up to the north. And so it looks like it's just going to swipe the Chicago area, but some additional storms may pop here as this takes place. Tornado watch till 2 a.m. in this red box until 11 p.m. in this box surrounds the Chicago area right here. And here's our model forecast of the storms as they lay out around 9:30 tonight. You can see there's some very healthy storms embedded in this juicy, humid air mass that we have in the area. There's over 2.5 inches of water for these storms to work on. So they're prolific rain producers. The southern suburb gets in on it after that. And I think we have a blow up right here for you, too, where we can show just how this is going to affect the Chicago area. It'll just start affecting parts of Cook County. I think we can go on to this right here. Well, yeah, there we go. Here's where Wrigley Field is, by the way, and you can see the model putting some thunderstorms into the region, then moving it off to the south and east. But we still have some thunderstorms around. Finally, by midnight, it's pretty much over in our area and settling through the southern suburbs. Quite an evening. This is a storm that is produced during the day 90 plus mile-per-hour winds out in Iowa. Hail 2 3/4 inches in diameter there. And big rains out in the Dixon area, 2.84 inches, an incredible amount of rain in just 30 minutes. But as you can see right there, we're expecting things to start improving later tonight and tomorrow, but we have some action to go through first. We'll keep you posted on those storms southwest of us. That's it for now from the WGN Weather Center. I'm Tom Skilling. We'll have, of course, a complete report on the news coming up after the ball game. That's it from the Weather Center. Thanks for joining us. Back to the ball game.
Hey, Tom.
Yes. Yes.
Mark Sapelsa in
Mark.
the WGN newsroom. I think there's a delay in the game because of the power outage, so we're going to hold it here for just a few moments if you don't mind. So, Tom, you were talking about at midnight, things may eventually dwindle here, but for the moment, if you could, I'll give you a chance to take your breath. If you can give us a recap as to where the warnings and the watches are.
Well, here you see it, Mark, right here. This is, we kind of folded things down. We get vertical Doppler data that tells us the height of these clouds. The taller the clouds, the stronger the updrafts producing them. So this big mound of cloudiness that you see right there that we're zooming in on, this is the storm complex, and it's southwest of the city, though you'll notice, Mark, up here in Cook County to the north, there are some stells beginning to pop up in this area, and you can see that on the top view. The red and yellow areas are the areas getting the heaviest amounts of rain, and boy, the rainfall with these have been prolific. Mike Hammernick, my colleague back here in the weather office, has been looking at the velocity data, the data that shows us how the winds are blowing within this complex right here. These are rotating thunderstorms right here. They call them supercells, and tornadoes tend to spin up out of that. They're the product of air blowing in from the southwest at the surface and then being sliced across by a westerly jet stream wind aloft. So you get a column of air that begins to rotate, and you get a tornado to spin out of that. And you also can get some very strong winds because these storms can bring some of that wind energy down to the surface in the process. Mike Hammernick reports, he's been looking at this velocity data, that there's been a marked increase in the intensity of the rotation within this cloudiness, or within this storm complex right here. So it's quite likely there may be additional warnings from this. And can you see the box right here, Mark? This is a tornado watch. It doesn't, it looks like it cuts across Cook County. Forecasters here have opted to leave Cook County out of it, and the county Will and Kankakee, Lake County in Indiana, and so forth. Those counties are in the tornado watch just issued. This one is in effect. You see it in the yellow area till 2 a.m. And the old tornado watch right here with tornado warnings. And you can see there's been an expansion of these. They're in effect short term. Well, there's the tornado watch until 11 o'clock. DeKalb, Kane, Kendall, LaSalle, and cities like Aurora, Dundee, Elgin, and Oswego all in that watch. Not Chicago, though, but that doesn't mean we won't get some thunderstorms around here. And then the tornado watches out to the east run until 2 a.m., and these cover Calumet, Gary, Joliet, areas of Will, Porter, Lake, and Kankakee counties to the south of us. You know, these thunderstorm complexes, when they grow severe like this, and there's the tornado warning that's in effect in LaSalle County. This goes up to 9:15 tonight. When these storms grow mature, they tend, because of their spinning motion, they almost generate a torque, which kind of takes the track of the storm that may be from west to east, and it bends it a little more to the southeast. We call these right-turning storms. Supercells like this one tend to be particularly vigorous and generate a little bit of this torque.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Wanted to show you one thing.
Sure.
You mentioned tornado touching down in the sublet area. Here's a picture that we've gotten from one of our viewers just to kind of give you an idea of what was snapped there.
Yeah, that's, boy, and that's taking out a pretty good tree. As you see right there.
Certainly is.
You know, these storms today, Mark, have been coming in waves. They started last night up in South Dakota. They've been tracking across South Dakota and Iowa and so forth. And each one of them has been doing its own share of damage.
Confirmed tornado on the ground just to the north.
Sounds like Tom's got some information.
Yes. Mike Hammernick speaking to me off camera here, Mark.
Sure. What is he
He's been looking at the data. So, Mike, you tell us, confirmed tornado on the ground now north of Ottawa? North of Ottawa. So this confirms Mike's analysis of the velocity data, which showed that this storm had been strengthening, the rotation within it. So we now have a spotter that has confirmed the fact that we've got on the ground a tornado out there. Boy, you know, Mark, doesn't this sound reminiscent of the Fairdale situation? This thing kind of unfolded before us as well, and you can see this is a pretty large batch of heavy weather. The rains that are coming down in this are prolific.
And Tom, it seems to me that Ottawa was the location of another tornado a couple of years back, was it not?
You know, it certainly has been. I mean, you know, it's interesting, Mark. The history of tornadoes across the Chicago area shows that the longest path length tornadoes have tended to occur around the south end of the lake and in our southern suburbs. And back in the 1980s, Will County became kind of the action zone for tornadoes, Plainfield being most noteworthy among those. It was, as you went back before that, you tended to get a corridor that formed from Oswego through Aurora and up to Evanston. So, but the long path length tornadoes, the ones that have been on the ground the longest period of time and for the greatest number of miles, have tended to spin around the south end of the lake, and that might have something to do with, you know, the fact that you're adding a lake breeze component, a wind off the lake that converges with the winds that are occurring with larger scale weather systems in these situations where you're producing a tornado. Here is a look at this, and Bill Snyder, my producer, has put in these time of arrival data estimates right here from our computers. Mission, 9:15 p.m. arrival of the storm. Big Grove, 9:24. Saratoga at 9:35. Minooka, 9:49. And Plainfield, 9:56. That would be the arrival of some of the heavier elements of this storm down to the south. And there you see it right there. That's quite a mound. Little wonder this thing is developing, Mark. We've had mid-90-degree temperatures downstate all day. East St. Louis hit 94, St. Louis itself 93, and there have been dew points in the 70s. The weather balloons tell us 2.5 to 2 3/4 inches of water is evaporated in a column of air. Well, a storm like this sweeps the air in from all around the area, concentrates its rainfall, and that's how you wind up getting 3 1/3 inches of rain inside of a half hour's time. So,
well,
and of course, this is falling over an area that has standing water already. Not a good scene down there at all.
So it's important to point out that Mike Hammernick, one of your colleagues, mentioned that Ottawa has a tornado that's been sighted on the ground. We've got some life-saving information here that we are covering up the Cubs game for just a moment. They did have a power surge that knocked out about 25% of the lights for a period of time. The game is resuming. We'll get back to it as soon as we possibly can.
But we should tell you that the National Weather Service did say there was a confirmed tornado on the ground, and just after 8 o'clock it happened tonight. There are reports of people trapped in trailers at Woodhaven Lakes right now, so there is some powerful storms out there right now, Tom.
Yeah,
people are
they definitely are. By the way, if you do get into a situation where you wonder or fear that a tornado's coming into your area, a couple of rules. Stay away from windows. Shards of glass become airborne and deadly projectiles. So do pieces of wood and metal. So you want to get away from windows, the lowest level of the house, preferably in an interior room. If you have a basement, that's even better. But you want to go into a basement in the center of it, not the corners. We used to tell you to go to the southwest corner. Turns out because of the rotary circulation of a tornado, you pile debris into the corners. So you want to go under something heavy so that if that structure comes down on you or the debris falls, you don't suffer crush injuries, which is one of the major ways people are injured and die in these storms.
Well, Tom, before we go back to the Cubs game, can you give us specific information once again as to what you see on your radar as to where things are, where it's headed?
Yeah, the area that is ground zero for tonight's activity, you know, back in the Fairdale situation, it was west-northwest of the city. Tonight, here's Chicago up here. Here it is southwest. You've got Yorkville, Mission, areas like Ottawa, northwestern LaSalle County, Lee County, areas like that. Sublette is where the first touchdown is reported to have occurred. And here you see the tornado warnings in red, the tornado watches in yellow. Warnings mean storms have been sighted either on radar or spotters underneath them have confirmed there's a circulation on the ground doing damage. And this watch runs to 11 o'clock. The one in the south of us, Will and Kankakee County up into Indiana and Michigan, that's in effect effect until about 2 a.m. And by the way, this is kind of interesting. Our computer calculates how many people are in the area under warning. So this warning right here in red that's being covered here by this box, there are about 37,939 people inside that tornado warning area, which is kind of an interesting way to look at it. You got some idea of the real human impact of these storms and the kind of populations they're affecting. Mike Hammernick dashing over here. What's this? A tornado warning now for 9 till 9:45, Mike, for Grundy and LaSalle counties. Right. And this is the circulation you were tracking near Ottawa.
Downstream of all the reports toward north.
Gotcha. So we have a new tornado warning, this one till 9:45 p.m. for Grundy and LaSalle counties.
And Tom, you mentioned LaSalle County. Mendota Police Lieutenant Kellen says that residents of LaSalle County and Mendota should stay indoors, do not go outside to assess the damage, let the emergency crews do their jobs and stay inside. And remember the last...
Mountain Dew Baja Blast, a Taco Bell original, is back in bottles and cans.
What?
Get some while you still can. Now with new Sangrita Blast.
Thanks for watching The Kids, Mom. It's great having you close by again.
Ready to make the move?
Ready. Change our home search to 4 bedrooms. It's twins.
Whatever is next in your life, Mel Foster can help you find your home.
Come home to Candlelight Inn, located in Sterling, Rock Falls, and Clinton. Whether you delight in our mouth-watering starters, delicious dinners, or our home-style meals, Candlelight Inn serves it up fresh every day. Try our delicious original or buffalo-style chicken George, the hand-dipped delicacy that everyone is talking about. The secret's out. Fresh, quality, comfort food from Candlelight Inn, with 3 locations to serve your appetite. Sterling, Rock Falls, and Clinton.
Kelly and Michael know how to brew the perfect morning.
What's in here?
A spoonful of laughs, fun, and stir it up with some big surprises. For the perfect morning, just add Kelly and Michael.
We're going to have to drink our way out.
Weekday mornings at 9 on WQAD News 8.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast, a Taco Bell original, is back in bottles and cans.
What?
Get some while you still can. Now with new Sangrita Blast.
It may be driven by the climatology of the storm tracks that go through the area. You know, if a storm tends to move in a particular direction and spawns its embedded tornadoes in a particular way, then if it repeats this track across the area, the larger scale storm within which features like this are embedded, then you'll tend to get an area that's repeatedly affected by these storms. So there are a lot of reasons, not all of them totally understood, but you are right. There may be terrain effects from this. I remember asking Ted Fujita that years ago when he was at the University of Chicago, the famous tornado researcher, who's, our tornado intensity index bears his name, the Fujita scale.
Right.
And he said, you know, it's not known 100% why alleys always turn out where they do, but there probably is a geographic component to it and also a climatological component to it. Just the way storms move across an area at certain times of the year.
You said this particular storm right now seems to be hooking southeast.
Very interesting, Mark.
You know,
the history of these supercells are that they tend to make these right turns. These are almost standalone storm complexes in many cases. Now, there may be multiple circulations in and around them, but, you know, it's not unusual for these storms to start out moving slightly north of due east, then to kind of curve eastward, and then finally east-southeast, and finally southeast. The Plainfield tornado was embedded within a northwest flow, so it was moving southeast to begin with, and that was a late season storm. But here in the earlier part of the season, you tend to get your storms to move from southwest to northeast, and indeed our upper winds have been almost west to east that are steering the larger scale thunderstorms. But do you see how as we animate this, there's kind of a south of due east trajectory on this storm's movement right there. And those dark red areas right in the middle, that's where your maximum radar beam, or the energy from the radar that's propagates energy, bounces it off hydrometeors, hailstones, and raindrops and so forth. And much of that energy comes back to the radar, and we can measure how much energy is returning to the antenna and therefore see where the rain is falling the heaviest.
Tom, can you...
Yeah, Mark.
Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to ask you if you could give us the minute by minute. You had some excellent graphics up there a short time ago, just to tell us exactly what town may be next in line of the storm.
Gosh, this is going, you're in small town country down there.
Sure.
And you can see some of the towns, but among them, Minooka, Yorkville appears to be on the north fringe of this. Here's Mission, Illinois, right there. This has come through Sublette, that's out in Lee County. That's about, 83 miles west of downtown Chicago.
Yeah.
Ottawa would be slightly southwest of downtown Chicago. And this thing turning a little bit southeast would be heading more now into LaSalle County, maybe southern Grundy County. It looks like Grundy County's getting in on this as well. So those towns and communities in those counties are the ones most at risk right here, and likely to see the heaviest rains and the gustiest winds.
We do have that
There's
picture.
more time of arrival data.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, Minooka 9:58. These are estimates. What we're doing here is taking the average movement. We get computer calculations based on past movement of these storms of how fast they're moving. So these are rather simple extrapolations saying, well, if it's going at 30 miles an hour, here's what time it arrives in these cities. We should point out that in the real world, these storms change intensity.
Of course, yeah.
They can get stronger or weaker or something like that, but at least it gives you a rough idea, a ballpark figure of when these storms may arrive in a particular community.
So right now, 9:45. Until 9:45, the tornado warning in those areas right now.
That's right. And we've been saying right along, Micah, that we thought the period from 8 or 9 o'clock up to 1 in the morning would be the period within which portions, at least, of our Chicago metro area, the larger area we call our metropolitan area, might be affected by these storms. So, and in fact, the watch out here in northwest Indiana and Michigan, the Weather Service keeps that going till about 2 in the morning. But it's not uncommon for those to come down before the initially estimated termination times.
So, Tom, what are we seeing there with the red and the yellow? What's the difference?
The orange here is a severe thunderstorm watch, a warning, I'm sorry. And now when you see red, that's a tornado warning.
Okay.
And the orange area is a severe thunderstorm warning. So what that means, that's a level of intensity below a tornado warning. What that means is there are apparently additional cells producing strong winds and so forth that are headed into that area. The red areas, the red counties here are the ones that are under the tornado warning. And of course, the yellow one, yellow kind of is a color that signifies caution. It means that conditions that have been known to produce tornadoes in the past are indeed coming together right now and will be through the period of the watch, which runs until 11 o'clock in southwest of Chicago and 2 a.m. Through northwest Indiana and Michigan.
So right now, if you're in those areas where that red is, beware, take cover, right?
Yeah, you're probably already being doused at a pretty good clip and probably have been for a while. Here again, we put it in motion. You see, this is a pretty stable complex. Normally after sunset, you start reducing atmospheric energy levels because the sun is set. But that's one thing water vapor does. We talk about it in terms of climate change. It holds on to and re-radiates heat. And so at night, when you have a lot of humidity in the air, you can hold on to a lot of energy deeper into the nighttime period. And apparently what was withholding the development of these storms for a while was we sat right under the nose of a speed max in the jet stream, and right under that nose the air tends to sink, and so the tendency of warm humid air to be buoyant and rise tends to fade away unless you've got something like water vapor holding on to heat well into the night and creating buoyancy in the air, because warm air likes to rise.
Okay, Tom, let me show you the once again, if we can call for the picture of Sublette, where we had just a, yeah, there you go, kind of a murky picture. It looks like a tree snapped over amidst the tornado or tornado activity that moved through there. Just to recap, Tom, what happened in Sublet? Where is the tornado warning situation now? Just if people might be tuning in as we speak to see what is going on with the Cubs game, which, by the way, they're winning 2-1, and they're checking to see that, oh my gosh, we've got severe weather. Where are we at?
Well, Sublet, the first report of a touchdown from a spotter was at 8:07. We were seeing radar-determined circulations in the clouds before that, but we actually had eyes on the ground. We had ground truth that there was indeed a touchdown. And the fact you're taking out a tree with a trunk of that diameter is a sign, the sign you've had some pretty powerful winds. And why not? We do an energy measure of the atmosphere. We call it CAPE. And the unit involved is joules per kilogram. The Plainfield tornado had an 8,000 joules per kilogram energy level. Tonight we had 5,000 joules per kilogram in the atmosphere. The Fairdale tornado had something like 3,000 or 4,000 joules per kilogram, if memory serves me correctly. So this is a very energetic atmosphere, and part of that energy is the heat from today and also all this humidity in the air. Latent heat energy, the energy that's held by all this water vapor and humidity in the air, is what drives the whole hurricane. So, you can really tap this energy if you're in a thunderstorm in the atmosphere and do something with it. Then on top of that, something you don't have over a hurricane, and that's a jet stream. So these storms build up vertically. They're the tallest clouds on Earth, thunderstorm clouds, and they can build 50,000 feet into the atmosphere where they're reaching into the jet stream. And, as such, they can reach up into these high-altitude winds and divert some of this energy down to the surface. And that's part of the way these things generate the rain they do, as well as the cold air that's rained out of the cloud. Being cool and dense, as the storm begins to weaken, the updrafts that hold all that cold air aloft give way, and the air gushes down to the surface, and you get microbursts and downbursts and a gush of wind out of the storm. So a lot going on here, but the fact that this stays pretty stable in size indicates that this is a pretty vital situation. It's pretty well supported even at this late hour of the evening.
On my Facebook page, somebody just said, here comes the storm into Morris and Minooka. So,
there you go.
You call it.
Minooka would be another community in the path of this, Mark, no question.
Okay, Tom, so here's a picture off of Facebook from, looks like Meg Carl, who just said, wow. Tom Skilling, Mark Micah, here was what was over my head, and
wow.
that's when somebody said, look out, Morris Minooka.
Yeah. It's amazing, Mark. We've been combing through pictures that folks are good enough to send to us. One gentleman was flying over farm country down in this region, and the standing water down there is just stunning. It's really something to see from the air. In fact, we'll share that with you during our newscast tonight, one of the pictures. Also, these beautiful lobe-shaped mammatus clouds. These are these almost surreal, bumpy clouds that when they're illuminated by the setting sun, they take on an orange and red hue. And they look very turbulent, and indeed there's a lot of turbulence in the atmosphere. Here, by the way, this is called the shear track right here. So if you want to know where the storm is producing damaging winds down to the surface, here's a good field to look at off the Doppler radar. And you can see the way there's a general northwest to southeastward drift. This is the hail shaft, or the hail track. And presumably, along all of this, the course or the path of that blue band you see there, the storm has been producing hail. And that's something, again, for which we have ground truth. People have been reporting large hailstones throughout the history of this weather system and its multiple waves of storms that started in South Dakota, moved across Iowa and into Illinois. So no question that we're probably going to hear some pretty impressive hail reports, and have been getting them up to this point.
Okay, Tom.
We've got someone on the phone right now. We've got a Dennis McCoy who's at the Countryside Tap, which is across the street from the Woodhaven area that we talked about where the people were trapped. Dennis, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
What are you looking at out the window there?
Actually, it really, from where my vantage point, I don't see much.
Okay.
And my building has virtually no damage. There's a lot of flooding and stuff. But, I've seen several ambulances going in, and that's about all I can tell you. There's been some heavy equipment going in that direction, but other than that, from my vantage point, I don't see a lot.
Well, sounds good. That's what we'd like to hear.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess the problem there is he sees ambulances going in, so perhaps they're going into that bunkered area where they were enclosed within some of the trailers there.
Yeah. We just come out. We're usually closed on Monday night, but we just come out and see if anybody needs shelter or needs some help. I didn't know what the extent of the damage was.
So, Dennis, you don't see a storm? There's no rain, nothing right now from you? That area?
What's that?
There's no storm going on in that area? It's pretty quiet?
Oh.
It's quiet now.
Yeah, the storm is
bad a while ago, but
right.
It's through the area now.
Yeah, it's moving now, Micah, and you can see it right there, Kendall, Grundy, and in toward Will County. There are a whole series of storm tracks. What happens here is our computer, there are algorithms that debrief the radar picture and find the cells that are producing the heaviest storms, and then they extrapolate past movement into the future. And so those little cones you see emanating from particular cells show you about the movement that would be expected if the storm continues moving at the same rate of speed for the next 60 minutes.
Hey,
and
Dennis, sorry, Tom. Dennis, had you heard about any damage or the people being trapped nearby? Is that why you were talking about the ambulances?
I just heard they were dispatched all the local fire departments and toned out several of the neighboring fire departments for some problems inside, but I actually do not know what the extent of the damage is inside.
But you're okay and no damage to your building there?
Nope.
That's good to hear. Good to hear.
Dennis, did you get a lot of rain down there? You must have had a heck of a cloudburst.
Going on too as well.
He said a lot of flooding, Tom.
I'll bet. This has got to be one prolific rain producer. The rain numbers we've been getting out of this have been really something. So
getting a lot of rain. So
yeah.
All right, guys.
We appreciate
you, Dennis.
calling us, Dennis.
Thanks so much. Well,
there's nothing, guys, like eyes on the ground. Is there, or ground truth?
That's exactly right.
I remember that night as we were covering Fairdale. How much we learned from folks who were actually there as we dispatched our folks out there to go and cover that. And that's often the way it is. And, as we pointed out that night, often you don't realize how bad it is till the light of the next day. It's hard in the darkness. And particularly if you've had a lot of wind and rain going on, to know exactly what the extent of the damage is till you get out there and look at it. And that's not always easy to do. And probably not a wise thing to do either. I saw some raw video from Fairdale where you could hear the propane tanks hissing out
goodness.
there.
Yeah.
And, you don't want folks walking around there, and there were people lighting cigarettes. I remember some of the folks on the scene there were saying, for heaven's sakes, put out your cigarettes. We've got gas in the air out here. You know?
Tom, we're going to go to Mike Hammernick, who's in the studio right now, for the latest. Give me the latest, Mike, that you've got.
Well, right now we continue to watch this supercell thunderstorm that is still looks like it's producing a tornado. Right now, if there is a tornado, it is just to the west of Morris near Seneca. It looks like the circulation of the storm is just past now south of Interstate 80. So the main circulation with this storm, the part of the storm that would be producing a tornado, has just dropped south of Interstate 80, just to the west of Morris. Right now, it looks like this storm will pass just to the west of Morris, at least the circulation of the storm, the tornadic part of the storm will. Still going to get a lot of rain around that area, but the one area we're concentrating on is the rotation of the circulation or the possible tornado with this storm system that is now moving into Grundy County. It's moving up southeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Again, it has moved just south of Interstate 80, so north of I-80, still getting a lot of rain and the possibility of some hail. But right now, the main circulation has moved just south of I-80 to the west of Morris. And still looks like it could be producing a tornado. The circulation is not quite as tight as it was a little bit earlier, about 15 to 20 minutes earlier, where it was giving us a very strong indication of a tornado. But there's still enough there that this could be a tornado, and the tornado warning continues for Grundy County as well as LaSalle County until at least 9:45.
Okay, Mike, we've got some video of a tornado passing, possibly in the area of Sterling, Illinois. If we want to take a look here, this has just come into our newsroom. Tom,
it's right near where Dennis McCoy, the gentleman we talked to on the phone.
Yeah, about 30 miles away from there, I guess. Here you go. This is the latest video we have. Tom, Mike, if you want to take a look at it and see if you see anything in particular. So far as I can see, it looks like a big blob of nastiness.
Yeah, I would say, Mark, from what I can see right there, now you've got falling rain and wind, obviously, but it looks to me like we're on the periphery of the storm on some of that video right there. And also, like, we need to wipe the lens off. There's a little bit of condensation on it, which happens, but there you get the intensity of the rain.
Wow.
Apparently, apparently there, Tom, they said something like the Northland Mall had a sports store by the name of Dunham Sports Store that had the roof and wall collapse. They put some trees down. So there you go. There's looks like the video right there.
Yep.
In Sterling, Illinois.
Suspect we're going to hear more of that. Well, you know, Mark, this thing produced, 95-mile-per-hour wind gusts crossing Iowa. Out by Dubuque, just west of Dubuque, it produced 80-mile-per-hour winds. You know, these thunderheads are 10 miles high in the atmosphere. People often ask, you know, if they come into the city, do the buildings disrupt the flow? Heck, you know, a Sears Tower or a Hancock building, a Willis Tower, if you will, you know, they're about, 1,500 feet high, and the circulation goes up in these clouds 50,000 feet, and they're sweeping rain in and concentrating it in quite a shaft. And there are two kinds of damaging winds a thunderstorm produces. One, the outflow, the microbursts and downbursts, straight-line winds, and then tornadic winds. These are rotary winds. The tornadoes form when the air is being sucked up into a region of the cloud, and the air begins to rotate. And the outflow that comes usually is just beyond the mature stage of a thunderstorm, when at least a portion of the storm is collapsing and the cold air comes crashing down to the surface, and you get the outflow to produce straight-line winds and damage. So, you know, it's amazing. And there's the ball game on the right side of the screen. I remember the day of the Plainfield tornado. We sat here and watched the towering thunderheads from downtown Chicago, even as the devastation that we all know occurred in Plainfield, sure. August 28th, 1998 was going on. 1990 was going on. It's amazing. We're coming up on the anniversary of that.
Cubs are, by the way, winning 3-1, top of the 8th at Wrigley. Dodgers at bat. Now, Tom, you've got on the left side of the screen there for viewers at home, you've got a time frame as to where the storm is and what towns might be in the path next. You want to run through that for us again?
Sure.
I know it's a repeat for you, but perhaps not for people tuning in.
Actually, Bill Snyder, my producer, is updating these as we go, which is nice because I can stand here and point at things, and Bill is at the controls of the machine, the computer. Morris, arrival time around 9:42. Shanahan, 10:03. Wilmington, 10:11. That's down in Will County. And Ingalls Park at 10:23 p.m. So the storm continues its east-southeastward trek. It's sideswiping Chicago. So I would imagine we're going to have quite a lightning display off to the south and west. Earlier tonight, these storms were producing strong winds in the Sandwich area, all the way down to Romeoville. There were wind gusts to 50, 55 miles per hour. And that's kind of an interesting. It's unusual to get the winds on the north side of a thunderstorm. You tend to think of getting the damaging winds on the south side, except in these rare occasions where you have a setup as we did earlier, and the air actually kind of crashes down to the surface and produces strong straight-line winds. These are more classic thunderstorms. I may be wrong here. As I look at this and you just stand back and look at it looks like the area is shrinking just a little bit. But we still have an energetic atmosphere with all that humidity in there. I mean, we've been out walking through it all day. You know how thick it is. And that, as long as you keep the temps up and the humidity around, these storms can continue. But the thinking is that these will have pretty well moved out of, they'll certainly be out of the Chicago by midnight or shortly thereafter. And the northwest Indiana suburbs will be the last to say goodbye to these. And that will be happening in the hour or so just beyond midnight.
All right, Tom. We've got somebody on the phone, a gentleman by the name of Connor, who's in Sublet, the Woodhaven Lakes Campground. Connor, do we have you there?
Yes, you do.
Connor, can you tell us what's going on there? We had another gentleman say they heard about fire trucks and ambulances. We're hoping everybody's okay, but what do you know?
Oh, well, especially when the storm first hit, the clouds were actually really green, and actually the wind would actually sound like a freight train that was coming through, and thank goodness we were at they have comfort stations here, and so we were safely inside there when the storm originally hit. But the tornado was probably about 2-3 blocks away from where I was currently located, and literally we took a little drive after the storm hit. Extensive damage everywhere. There's a bunch of trees falling down, especially towards the Woody's gas station that we have out here. And then there's multiple, there's actually a tree that's fallen down on a camper and completely destroyed the camper. And you cannot get past Woody's gas station. There's about 50 plus trees that are falling down, and they're sending multiple fire trucks out here trying to get people out of the campers that they are trapped in.
So there are several people trapped in that camper, you say?
Yes.
And were there a lot of people in the campground area when this hit?
No, there wasn't many people in the campground area, but a lot of people, when they were here, they decided to take shelter, and so they were mostly at the comfort stations when it hit.
So, Connor, just so I understand this correctly, where are they trapped? The people that are allegedly trapped that you're hearing about, where is it? Is it in the campground?
They're in the trailers. Yeah, they're in the trailers inside this campground.
Got it. Okay. Is it just one trailer? Is it a number of them? Or what do we know?
Well, we don't know the details exactly, but yeah, there's multiple fire trucks that are on their way. In fact, I already saw 2 come through already, one with a huge spotlight and heavy-duty equipment like a cherry picker to get the trees out of the way. But so far as we know, there's multiple more fire trucks that are going to be on their way shortly from multiple different areas.
Well, excellent assessment for us, Connor. We hope all the best for everybody out there. We're glad you're in good shape. You said the tornado apparently...
Every diamond is unique. Like a new relationship, it starts out raw. But after time, hard work, and polishing, it becomes something to be treasured. Every diamond has a story. Let the diamond experts at Necker's Jewelers help make this one yours.
Thanks for watching The Kids, Mom. It's great having you close by again.
Ready to make the move?
Ready.
Change our home search to 4 bedrooms. It's twins.
Whatever is next in your life, Mel Foster can help you find your home.
Come home to Candlelight Inn, located in Sterling, Rock Falls, and Clinton. Whether you delight in our mouth-watering starters, delicious dinners, or our home-style meals, Candlelight Inn serves it up fresh every day. Try our delicious original or buffalo-style chicken George, the hand-dipped delicacy that everyone is talking about. The secret's out. Fresh, quality, comfort food from Candlelight Inn, with 3 locations to serve your appetite: Sterling, Rock Falls, and Clinton.
Chicago baseball is sponsored in part by Corvins Insurance.
John Deere is proud to be a sponsor of the John Deere Classic and Birdies for Charity. Thanks to John Deere, 100% of your pledges plus a bonus go to services in our community.
Thank you for giving through Birdies for Charity. It helps your charities and your community.
Chip in for your charity. Birdies for Charity.
Like a diamond, the story of your love is timeless. This isn't just a diamond for her. This diamond is for generations to come. When they look down, they'll be reminded of the love story that started it all. Let us help you tell your story. Necker's Jewelers. Give to the one you love.
You know, if you were to have paints and mix a yellow and blue paint, you'd get green as a color. And he was saying that he sent his grad students out into these green environments around tornado-producing storms with spectrometers, and they could actually measure the color of the light that was going on. And indeed, it is greenish. It's not an optical illusion or anything like that. And that's why you often see these greenish casts around thunderstorms. You're backlighting them often with, a setting sun or a rising sun, low-angle sunlight.
Tom, let's go to the phone. We've got Diane Carbonari on the phone. She is from Sublet, and as we know, Sublet is 85 miles west of Chicago. Diane, how are you? Are you okay?
Oh, yeah, we're fine here. We're fine.
What did you see?
The storm has passed.
What did you see?
Well, we're in the park, and we're having a little trouble getting around because of closed roads and trees down. The park is about 1,700 acres, so it's quite a bit of land to cover.
Diane, are you talking about the Woodhaven Lakes campground there?
Yes, that's where we are.
Now, are you camping there, or do you work there, or what's your situation?
I work here, yes. I have a realty company that sells property in the park.
Okay, and we understand from some reports and even some eyewitnesses that somebody may be trapped in a trailer there. Have you heard that?
Well, the thing with Woodhaven is it's a gated community, and so they know who is in the park at all times. And I see that they're down at that association office, and they're working to find out who's in the park and how to get to each person,
Okay.
and trying to make an accountability of everybody that was here and is here.
So this is a mobile park home where people live, they're residents in there. So what?
No, it's a recreational park. There's no living here, but you can stay 6 months out of the year.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the gated part is, like you said, if you're going to recreate there, camp there, whatever, you got to, you got to make a reservation. You got to give your name, so there's accountability for who might be there, right?
Yeah, kind of that way, right. It's a private owned, and we all have our passes to get in, and this way they know who's here and who's not. And so I'm just going through the area here, and there is quite a bit of trees down. Don't see any real lights on in a lot of the park homes because people, are back in Chicagoland and the, southern area of Illinois. But on an average at this time of the year, there's probably, a good couple of hundred people in the park at least.
Yeah, we got a call from Connor, who was also in that area. He told us he believes that allegedly a tree fell down on one of the trailers and that folks may be trapped in that one. Have you heard anything like that?
Well, there's several trailers that have trees down on them.
Wow.
I think we're coming up to it now. We're in what we call Section 5 on a main drag, Cranhurst, and there seems to be an ambulance just up ahead.
Okay.
We've tried several ways around the park, but there's multiple trees down. It's about being in the trees and, being in the wilderness here.
Well, that ambulance might speak to what we were talking about, where somebody may be trapped in the trailer, or at least the some sort of
a park home of sorts.
Yeah,
of some
exactly.
Sort, right.
Exactly.
They do have an alarm system in the park for this type of situation, and I do understand that a lot of people went to the Recplex, and they were quite safe, which is wonderful, and they do have areas for everyone to go to.
So, Diane, alarms did go off then. You heard alarms?
Oh, yes, we heard alarms.
Got it. When you, where were you, Diane, when this thing blew through?
I was just south of Sublet and Amboy, about 5 miles.
Did you see?
I'm walking up to this now. I believe this is probably where that situation is occurring. There's 1, 2, 3 paramedics and a fire truck and the security in the park.
You see any of the folks who may have been affected by this?
Hold on, I'll find out.
We appreciate it, but you be careful out there.
Somebody's trapped.
We're listening to Diane Carbonari.
No, they didn't seem to know.
No, they don't seem to know, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, there's quite a bit of equipment here.
So Diane Carbonari is in Sublet, Illinois, at the Woodhavens Lake Campground area. What, well, our producer said Wikipedia called it the world's largest privately owned campground. And Diane says it's like 1,700 acres or something like that. And she's walking up to, apparently, am I correct here? You've got lots of emergency vehicles and equipment at the site that you're walking around right now?
Yeah. I'm just passing some of them. I'm trying to get a view of where somebody might be.
Is your realty company okay? Was it affected?
No, it was not affected.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Thank you.
Mark and Micah?
Yes.
Late arriving report from my colleague Steve Kahn. Highway 6 north of Seneca flooded with debris on it right now. And one other note, too. The joke is, and it's not very funny, that tornadoes head toward mobile home parks or, recreational vehicles. Mobile homes are mobile homes because they're meant to be mobile, and you can tie them down, and there's just no way to keep them secured when you bring some of these winds in, so it's not uncommon. That classic picture of the double tornado that was taken in the Palm Sunday outbreak in 1964 back in Elkhart, Indiana, one of those storms went across a trailer park and was responsible for 54 deaths. So, these storms are nothing to fool with, and, the common wisdom is get out of trailer homes, go into a concrete building, and many of these facilities have secure buildings to go into, so let's hope a lot of folks did that.
Yeah, right now we have no reports of any injuries at this point.
This is wonderful, and let's hope it stays that way.
We'll see what Diane Carbonari at Sublet at the Woodhaven Lakes Campground finds out, because something appears to be up there if they've got paramedics and fire equipment there. Now, it could be anything. Could be, the fact that a couple of buildings were knocked over because of trees when the storm blew through, but hopefully there's no personal injury here.
Mark, history has shown when we see these sorts of returns that we've been seeing on these radars, on our radar imagery all evening, something's gone on there. These radar images are not concoctions of some machine that are without basis. In fact, it's clear we had one heck of a storm system go through that area, and it's still going through. And so I fear that, we shouldn't discount any reports of damage, and there probably is more that's happened that we don't know about.
Let's check in with Mike Hammernick to find out anything new have we found out, Mike? What's the latest?
Yeah, we continue to watch our radar real closely with this storm system. The center of the circulation of a possible tornado is centered about 5 miles south of Morris right now, or 5 miles south of Interstate 80. It's in Grundy County. That's where the circulation and rotation is right now. The storm is much larger, but if there's a tornado, it is right now located about 5 miles south of Morris, and it's moving east-southeast toward Coal City as well as Carbon Hill at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Now, the good news is the rotation has weakened somewhat, but this supercell, the rotation with it and the tornado potential has been waxing and waning. So it seems like it backs off a little bit and then strengthens. So we're not out of the woods yet. So what I can tell you is the rotation is weakened. Still looks like it could be producing a tornado 5 miles south of Morris right now, moving east-southeast through Grundy County. And we'll continue to keep a close eye on it and let you know if we see that rotation tighten up again. That would give us an increased confidence that it is definitely producing a tornado.
We still have a 10:15 warning. It's going until 10:15.
That's correct. Right? Tornado warning for Grundy County until 10:15, and we have a new severe thunderstorm warning too. This is for southeastern Cook County, Will County, and portions of Kankakee County. It's a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, and this is in effect until 10:30. So severe thunderstorm warning for many of the southern suburbs until 10:30. Tornado warning for Grundy County, most importantly, that runs until 10:15.
And these are different cells. These are totally different storms.
No, it's the same storm. It's actually the same storm. The storm is massive. It's a large supercell type storm that encompasses, it's 30, 40, it could be even 50 miles long and wide. But the one area, as far as a tornado is concerned, it's very finite, very well defined, and that's just to the south of Morris. So the storm encompasses a much larger area. The potential tornado is a very small, finite area in Grundy County right now, just to the south of Morris.
Okay, Mike and Tom, hold on one second. We've got Bob on the phone from West Haven Lakes, the campground where there appears to be some, maybe some damage activity. Bob, what do you have and what do you know?
I just talked to my son Ryan, my granddaughter Kaylee, and Michael Smith. And what happened was tornado went through their high winds because their trailer is completely destroyed. The next door neighbors is destroyed, and no one can really get out of there. For some reason, there's so many trees down in the area, gigantic trees. So they're actually sitting in their car waiting for emergency crews to try to get them out of Woodhaven.
Are they okay? Are they safe? I mean, they're not hurt, are they?
No one's hurt.
Good.
So no, everybody seems like everybody's fine. It's just that's what's going on right now, and we thank God that no one got hurt and they're all safe.
So, Bob, just to recap, so what you're saying and what you're seeing is that trees are down on top of all the trailers. The roads are somewhat impassable in the campground. It appears nobody's hurt, but that's the situation where everyone's trapped.
Absolutely, you're correct on that.
Wow, that's good. Okay, all right. For a while there, we were wondering what is going on with the emergency personnel other than trying to clear trees to get people free to drive, but that's good news.
Thank you.
No, thank you. We appreciate you calling and letting us know.
Guys, there's similarities. Mike was mentioning this complex that has developed. We saw that in the Fairdale tornado, too. That thing came out of eastern Iowa, the complex that was later to spin that storm up and another set of smaller tornadoes with it. So it's not unusual to have a complex around. And it's interesting, too, that sometimes the air falling out of one particular set of cumulonimbus clouds can converge with the air coming out of another one and produce updrafts. And, there's been speculation that maybe that was part of the reason the Plainfield tornado happened the way it did. The two towering thunderheads had air falling out of them that then merged and produced a tremendous updraft that encouraged the strengthening of the circulation in the tornado in Plainfield.
And just a quick update, we've been talking to folks in the sublet area that have been in the Woodhaven Lakes campground. A lot of trees have come down, a lot of those campers out there. It's 1,700 acres or so of that area, and we understand a lot of folks can't move around because they're trapped. Right now, we haven't heard of any early reports of injuries, which is good news. But of course, the focus is going to be on the emergency personnel who are trying to help those people out of their area who are trapped, those who are in their cars, those who are in their trailers, to get them out. Their campers, I should say, to help them get out. Because we've talked to several folks over there.
Diane said, Carbonari said that they did hear sirens there, so it appears that everybody took as much cover as they possibly could, and it appears they were successful at that so far. As Micah said, no reports of injuries.
Guys, it was interesting. A moment ago, we were showing you the lightning data. I always look as a proxy indicator of the fact the storm is weakening for some decrease in the lightning activity. And instead, when you look at this thing, Bill, why don't you put that in again? You'll see what I mean. It's just there's so many lightning discharges going on inside this storm that it looks like one giant white mass going on there. Now, there's the standard reflectivity right there. But the lightning is quite vigorous within it, even at this hour. And oftentimes at this late hour of the night, post-sunset, there it is right there. See how that's all kind of in a big ball all together? These are all individual lightning strokes, cloud-to-ground strokes. And, boy, there sure doesn't seem to be much loss in the concentration of those, does there?
No, exactly right.
We've got folks, I had some folks on Facebook saying they could hear tremendous amounts of thunder off in the distance in Bourbonnais. They say that it was heading their way.
Yeah. Well, look at that. It's making a beeline toward Kankakee County, and it's going through southwestern Will County right now. So there's the hail shaft right there, still looking pretty viable as well. You'll notice the areas of purple seem to be kind of fading a little bit, but wow, that's still a heck of a lot of hail production that's going on, and rain and lightning production. So
guys, if you guys could take a picture of my computer, I'm not sure the location of this, but on Twitter, this truck had its last day after the storm came through. I don't know if the control room can pull up the computer, but you'll see it in a moment. Yeah. They're trying to get it up there with a red truck destroyed in front of a house with lots of trees on top. I'll try and make the picture bigger after I take this, put this on the air and then take it off the air, so you don't have to see all the maintenance work behind the scenes here with the computer. But Tom, it's some of the pictures are starting to come in here.
Yeah.
Let's go to Mike Hammerneck. What do you know, Mike?
And we're starting to see the circulation come back now over Grundy County, and it's headed directly for Carbon Hill and Coal City. So we're seeing this storm tighten up once again. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, we've seen the storm weaken and then strengthen as far as rotation and as far as tornado potential. And now we're starting to see it strengthen once again. And it's about 5 miles to the north and west of Carbon Hill, as well as Coal City and Diamond. These are all in Grundy County. This storm is moving to the south and east, and it looks like it'll reach Carbon Hill as well as Coal City in about 7 to 8 minutes now. So again, it's storming there now, but the center of the circulation where the tornado is about 5 miles to the north and west of Carbon Hill as well as Coal City, and it's headed east-southeast at about 35 to 40 miles per hour. Tornado warning continues for Grundy County, including the towns I just mentioned, and that runs until 10:15. So we are still seeing a tornado on the ground. We haven't had reports we're still seeing signs of a tornado on the radar, but we haven't had any reports from spotters recently, but this still could be producing a tornado in Grundy County.
All right, the producers say that we've got some pictures from the campground here. We're talking about the Sublette, Illinois, about 83 miles from downtown. Here we see some of these pictures in the Woodhaven Lakes campground area where a lot of the damage has occurred because of the tornado. As we flip through them, we've had reports from a number of callers who say nobody appears to be hurt, but just trees on top of structures, on top of roads, and people could not get out.
CLTV's Mike Jansen is emailing in saying that he's in southwestern Kankakee County right now, and he's been able to hear thunder for at least 45 minutes straight. So things are very active in those areas right now.
Mike Hammernick, what was your last report about where this thing is headed and where it's at?
Again, it's in Grundy County. Morris, it is past Morris right now. So Morris, you're in the clear, but we're starting to see this rotation tighten up again. In fact, it just got a new image in on the radar. It is really starting to tighten up just near Carbon Hill and Coal City. So if you live in Carbon Hill, Coal City, or anywhere in eastern Grundy County in that area, take shelter immediately, because this thing is really starting to wind up once again, and it looks like if it's not producing a tornado, boy, it is really close. We're seeing what we call gate-to-gate shear out of this storm, and it's really noticeable now about 3 miles to the west of Carbon Hill, and it's moving east-southeast. So Carbon Hill, Coal City, Diamond, take shelter immediately. If there's a tornado, it is knocking on the doorstep right now. The storm encompasses a much larger area, but that's the area of the storm where the tornado would be right now.
Mike, it's moving, what, at 25 miles per hour right now?
It's moving about 35 miles per hour to the east-southeast, and it will be moving into Will County, it looks like, shortly in the next, looks like it should be arriving in Will County, actually, in the next 20 minutes or so. And there is a severe thunderstorm warning for Will County, but there's no tornado warning at this time, and I would suspect if we continue to see rotation like this on the radar, the Weather Service will issue a tornado warning for portions of western Will County as it moves to the east-southeast in the next, or perhaps even Kankakee County over the next 10 minutes or so.
Okay. Just as a reminder, the tornado warning for LaSalle has expired, but the tornado warning for Grundy continues until 10:15. Going, you say, about 35 miles per hour southeast, right?
That's correct. That's correct. And looks like, yeah, it's headed east-southeast, and it's going to be moving into right about the Will-Grundy County line and headed east-southeast. Well, on this type of path, it would eventually move toward Bourbonnais as well as Kankakee. So right now, the one tornado warning we do have is for Grundy County. Center of circulation is just to the west, almost on top of Carbon Hill, as well as Coal City, headed for Diamond, Braidwood, Lakewood Shores, and east-southeast at about 35 miles per hour. If this holds together, this has been what we call sometimes a long track supercell, and it could be a long-lived supercell, and this could be off and on somewhat of a long-track tornado too. If it continues to maintain this strength, it could eventually make it into northern and central Kankakee County toward Bourbonnais as well as Kankakee. So those would be the next two big cities that we'd be worried about. But that's still about 40 minutes away as far as those two towns are concerned. The most immediate concern, again, is Carbon Hill and Coal City. Those folks should definitely be in their basement right now.
All right, Mike, thanks. If we pull up my computer, it's a little sloppy, but I'll try to roll through a couple of pictures. I think what we're looking at here, sadly, is that looks like a kitchen. And as I scroll it up there, I think you're looking at the top where a tree has come through the kitchen right there.
Yeah, scary. This now, if the producers are listening, if you can tell us where is this? Is this in Woodhaven? The pictures that we're looking at? Okay, this is in Woodhaven.
Right there.
And these are some of the, this is at least one camper that the tree has fallen on top of.
Here's another one where the...
on its side.
Yep, the trailer is tipped over. You see the house to the right there.
And then you can see the funnel cloud in that next picture.
There it is.
You see the
right
actual
there,
tornado.
Yep. There it is.
I'm assuming that's a tornado.
Looks like the trailer with the jet ski right next to it.
Yeah.
But that certainly does look like some sort of twister. So a couple of pictures that have been sent into our assignment desk here at WGN. The producers have passed along. Again, there's that kitchen. Looks like it is sublet right there.
Now, we do have our Sean Lewis on the way to sublet, folks, so we will have a live report as soon as we can get established, but he is on his way.
What's that, Tom?
Guys, we have a new tornado warning. This is the cell that Mike was talking about. The tornado warning is out till 10:45 now for Grundy, Kankakee, and Will counties. Among the communities included are Braidwood, Reed, Wesley, and Wilmington. And this, again, is with this southeastward moving supercell. And cluster of rotating thunderstorms right there. So that has just come in. Do you know that cloud tops are up to 59,000 feet? That is a very respectable 10 o'clock in the evening thunderstorm. And I was just looking, the energy measure is up around 3,500 joules per kilogram still in the atmosphere in the latest analysis from the Storm Prediction Center. Now you say, what does that mean? Well, we figure if you get over 1,500 or 2,000, you got a pretty good chance of the storm within there having enough energy to spin up tornadic winds. So this thing is, this is a pretty powerful setup and still very viable despite the late hour.
All right. Well, good news, bad news, Tom, as I interrupt you for just a moment on a sports update. Good news, bad news for Cubs fans. The Cubs have beaten the best pitcher on the planet, Kershaw, 4-2 at Wrigley. Game is over. Kris Bryant, their unbelievable rookie, broke out of an 0-for-15 slump with 2 home runs tonight, I believe both off Kershaw. We'll have more coming up on that in sports later on tonight. But just to give folks an update, you saw some of it on a split screen. We apologize for not getting more of the game on, but of course we've got a public service to all the folks in the path of this storm, which is a life or death situation for a lot of these people. So I know a lot of you are upset with us and me on Facebook about not putting the Cubs game back on sooner. We apologize once again for that, but there you see the results right there. Tom, back to you. Where are we at with the storm?
Guys, the storm is proceeding from this point east-southeastward at about 35 miles per hour. It's moving now from Kendall and Will and Kankakee County, coming into northwestern Kankakee County, heading southeastward from there. So it's about ready in the not-too-distant future to cross the Illinois-Indiana line, and we'll at that point be moving into Lake County, and areas like
Mountain Dew Baja Blast, a Taco Bell original, is back in bottles and cans.
What?
Get some while you still can. Now with new Sangrita Blast.
Lindstrom's in downtown Galesburg, your source for quality electronics and home appliances. Lindstrom's brand source has now added Serta mattresses, America's #1 mattress manufacturer. Serta is now on display in our new bed salon at Lindstrom's. Choose from Serta iSeries, iComfort, or Serta Perfect Sleeper beds. Our knowledgeable experts at Lindstrom's are here to help you get a better night's sleep. Find value with Serta mattresses at Lindstrom's in downtown Galesburg, your brand source headquarters.
Chicago baseball is sponsored in part by Corvins Insurance.
Circa 21. Enjoy grand dining plus great professional entertainment. Now playing The Sound of Music. This Tony Award winner for Best Musical is widely considered to be one of the most beloved musicals of all time. Circa 21 Dinner Playhouse. Spend an evening you'll remember.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast, a Taco Bell original, is back in bottles and cans.
What?
Get some while you still can. Now with new Sangrita Blast. Eye Opener, weekdays at 5 a.m. on MyTV 8-3 and Mediacom Channel 716.